beneath the surface of our world lies a forgotten realm, hidden, untouched, waiting to be uncovered. A place where legends whisper of paradise, mystical gardens shimmering in myth and memory. But what if these stories were more than just tales? What if the greatest Eden wasn't lost to time, but buried beneath layers of earth and history? An ancient super city, pre-flood, filled with wonder and secrets. Scientists and explorers now stumble upon startling clues, artifacts, ruins, whispers of a vanished civilization that once rivaled our own. This isn't just archaeology, it's a cosmic puzzle challenging everything we believe. What if the Garden of Eden was really a bustling metropolis, a divine sanctuary turned battleground long before humanity's dawn? Now the truth awaits, lurking beneath the surface, ready to change our understanding of history, fate, and perhaps our very origins. Throughout history, the idea of a divine paradise or sacred garden has appeared across many cultures, each with its own tale but similar in essence. The Garden of Eden in the Bible isn't isolated. It echoes ancient stories and symbols found in civilizations separated by geography and time. In Mesopotamian mythology, lush divine gardens were central motifs. The Epic of Gilgamesh, over 3,000 years old, describes the cedar forest and the Garden of the Gods revered by gods and humans alike. These gardens represented realms of immortality, heavenly abodes from which humans were expelled or lost contact through divine intervention. They depicted a time when humanity dwelled in a utopian divine garden, harmonious before chaos entered the story. In ancient Egypt, a primeval paradise called the Field of Reeds appeared in myths. It was an idyllic realm where the righteous could live eternally. They envisioned it as a lush, fertile place where souls enjoyed nature's bounty and eternal peace. While serving different spiritual purposes, the theme of an ideal universe of harmony and divine connection persisted. Greek and Roman stories also featured sacred groves and gardens. The Garden of the Hesperides was a wondrous orchard with golden apples guarded by nymphs. It symbolized divine treasure and everlasting youth, a remote paradise of divine secrets and beauty. It represented primordial innocence and untouched perfection, serving as a symbol of divine purity. In Hindu and Buddhist traditions, sacred gardens take on spiritual significance. The celestial gardens of Svarga and divine groves in sacred texts are residences of gods, embodying harmony and immortality. These gardens symbolize spiritual enlightenment, eternal bliss, and the soul's return to a divine state, mirroring the longing for a lost paradise. Indigenous legends of the Americas also depict sacred sites and enchanted gardens. The Maya, Aztecs, and others spoke of sacred groves and mountain retreats that acted as portals to divine realms. These places connected with the natural and sacred were where humans and gods once shared communion, functioning as spiritual gateways. What's striking is how these stories across diverse societies converge. They describe a pristine, divine place of harmony where mankind originally dwelled before being cast out or losing it. It suggests that the human psyche is instinctively drawn to the idea of an original paradise, possibly a memory or mythic archetype buried within collective consciousness. These stories may symbolize a time when harmony with nature and divine presence was unbroken, a universal longing that persists in modern narratives of lost Eden. Could these legends be cultural echoes of a shared, ancient memory of a real, tangible place? Perhaps this is the very city or paradise we are on the verge of rediscovering today. Across religious texts, Eden has been portrayed in many ways, each offering a different perspective on its mysterious nature and location. The Bible describes Eden as a lush paradise situated at the confluence of 4 rivers, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates, though its exact placement remains uncertain. Some scholars see these rivers as allegories, while others attempt to match their descriptions to the geography of Mesopotamia, suggesting Eden could have been in the Fertile Crescent. These rivers flow through regions rich in ancient civilizations, lending support to the idea that biblical Eden might have been a real place in this area. In Genesis, Eden is depicted as a divine garden, an untouched sanctuary where Adam and Eve first dwelled and directly communed with God. It's described as a paradise of extraordinary beauty, with gold, onyx, precious stones, and fruit trees. The garden symbolises harmony and abundance, contrasting sharply with the chaos outside. Some interpret Eden as a literal geographic location from which humanity descended, while others see it as a spiritual or symbolic realm representing divine perfection and innocence. Jewish texts expand on Eden's mystique. The Midrash and Talmud mention it as a real location, often associating it with the east, possibly near the Tigris and Euphrates or in modern Persia or Arabia. Jewish sages have proposed Eden as a terrestrial paradise enclosed by a divine barrier, a physical realm that once existed but was later concealed or lost through divine decree or cataclysmic events. Islamic scriptures also describe Eden, or Jannah, as a heavenly paradise, but some interpretations suggest it was a terrestrial garden before the flood. The Quran depicts Eden as a lush, fertile land filled with rivers and abundant fruit, echoing biblical imagery. Some scholars believe Eden once existed in regions that experienced upheaval, potentially submerged or destroyed by a cataclysm, aligning with notions of a lost city buried beneath the sands of the Middle East. Ancient Mesopotamian myths also echo similar stories of divine gardens or perfect lands. Dilmun, a Sumerian paradise, is described as an abode of gods, a place of eternal summer and divine bliss. Researchers think that early Mesopotamian stories of divine gardens influenced biblical depictions of Eden, or vice versa, reflecting a shared cultural memory of a lost paradise in the cradle of civilization. Persian, Indian, and other ancient mystical texts contribute their own visions of idyllic realms, some resembling Eden, with lush trees, rivers, and divine inhabitants. For example, Indian mythology's Golden Age describes a time of harmony and abundance resembling Eden's description. Many texts portray Eden not merely as a geographic place but as a symbol of divine purity, concealed or lost after a fall from grace. This has led some modern thinkers to speculate that Eden was once a real location, possibly an advanced pre-flood society, whose remnants persist as myths, legends, and archaeological enigmas. Throughout these traditions, the recurring theme is that Eden was an earthly paradise, an ideal state of harmony with nature and the divine, that was lost over time. Whether as a literal place or a spiritual symbol, Eden represents humanity's longing to return to innocence and divine harmony. Discovering evidence of such an ancient, pristine city or civilization would challenge current understandings of history. It could reveal an advanced society flourishing before the Great Flood, offering clues to the true nature and location of the Garden of Eden. It remains one of the most tantalizing mysteries, a lost paradise buried beneath layers of earth and myth, awaiting discovery. Over the centuries, many archaeological claims have been linked to the Garden of Eden. These often originate from ancient texts, biblical stories, myths, and interpretations of findings that seem to echo descriptions of a divine paradise lost. But how convincing are these claims today? Let's explore some notable examples. One enduring claim points to Eridu in Mesopotamia, considered one of the oldest cities, dating back to around 4000 BC in present-day Iraq. Part of the Sumerian civilization, Eridu was a spiritual center near water sources, the Persian Gulf and marshlands. The Sumerians revered Eridu as sacred, dedicated to Enki, the water and wisdom deity, making it in some views a divine origin site reflecting the Eden myth. Moving to the Tigris and Euphrates, the biblical Eden's lush environment, rich with rivers and flora, is associated with this region. Excavations along these rivers have uncovered irrigation systems supporting fertility. Some link the ancient city of Shuruppak, near the legendary Ararat Mountains, to Eden, suggesting early prosperous urban centres in this zone could have inspired the biblical paradise. Further, Kish, an ancient Sumerian city, is viewed as a cradle of civilization. Some believe Eden was not just a remote paradise, but an early advanced city, symbolizing the dawn of human culture, an idyllic age of innocence and divine favor before the fall. Beyond Mesopotamia, claims also connect the biblical Eden to Anatolia, present-day Turkey. Göbekli Tepe, dating back about 10,000 years, features massive carved stone pillars predating settled agriculture. Some interpret it as a spiritual sanctuary holding mythic significance akin to a paradise or divine garden. Its age and grandeur imply early humans held complex spiritual beliefs, possibly including notions of an ideal natural state similar to Eden. In the Levant, Jericho's ancient city stands out. Inhabited for over 10,000 years, Jericho boasts one of the oldest defensive walls and early settlements. Some suggest Jericho could symbolize the earliest efforts at creating a safe, fertile environment, like a terrestrial paradise, given its deep history and stories of conquest and divine favor. In Iran, Pasargadae, Cyrus the Great's imperial capital, has been proposed as a candidate. While not directly linked to Eden, its sophisticated gardens, designed with artistic grandeur, have inspired the idea that biblical descriptions of paradise, lush, ornamental, carefully cultivated, might echo in ancient Persian garden design. In Central Asia, some argue the lush landscapes of Turkestan could be remnants of a pre-flood Eden. Geological findings point to climatic shifts around 10,000 years ago, roughly the biblical flood period. Cave paintings and artifacts depict harmonious animals and environments, possibly the last traces of a pristine world before catastrophe. In Africa, the Great Rift Valley and Ethiopia, early humans emerged from the fossil record. The environment was once exceedingly lush, rich with wildlife and flora. Fossils like Australopithecus afarensis in the Afar Triangle support the idea that humanity's origin was in a paradise-like setting, aligning with the biblical depiction of a divine lush garden. Recently, discoveries of ancient megalithic structures in the Amazon jungles have fueled fringe theories. Some suggest early, sophisticated civilizations and idyllic, untouched havens, possibly in Eden, deep in the Amazon. While mainstream archaeology remains skeptical, the notion persists that Eden was not limited to the Middle East, but part of a broader pattern of ancient advanced cultures thriving in remote regions. All these discoveries, from ancient cities and religious sites to environmental remnants, ignite curiosity. They suggest memories of a divine paradise might have been preserved in stories and ruins, perhaps echoing Eden itself. Yet each claim faces debate and interpretive challenges, making definitive links elusive. As modern technology advances, some believe we are close to evidence that could identify a real-world Eden, hidden beneath layers of earth, lost in time. Whether the biblical Eden was an actual place, a symbol of divine perfection, or a myth rooted in human longing remains an open question. Many archaeologists and researchers continue searching for clues that might confirm the paradise described in scriptures was once a tangible, real sight, a lush, fertile garden, or perhaps a poetic memory of a time before recorded human history. Despite skepticism, the search continues. The stories of Eden, whether truly historical or allegorical, drive exploration and discovery. From water-rich plains of Mesopotamia to ancient sacred sites of Anatolia, the Nile Valley, and Amazon jungles, each new find adds intrigue to humanity's quest for origins and perfection. These claims, although contested, symbolize the human desire to reconnect with an ideal state, paradise lost, waiting to be found again, in myth, legend, or possibly someday in reality. This ongoing pursuit keeps alive the hope that within our ancient past lies the truth of Eden, a place of innocence and divine harmony, or perhaps a divine idea shaping human longing for a perfect world. As archaeology and science progress, the hope persists that one day we may uncover whether Eden was rooted in history, or is only a sacred myth meant to inspire us toward a better future. Could ancient landscapes truly match the descriptions of Eden found in biblical texts? It's a question that has sparked curiosity for centuries, intertwining archaeology, geology, history, and legend. To determine whether the biblical paradise could have been rooted in real-world terrain, we must examine the geographical clues in scriptures alongside what Earth's ancient landscape looked like. The Book of Genesis mentions a river flowing out of Eden that divides into 4 rivers: the Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates. The Tigris and Euphrates are well known, originating in eastern Turkey and flowing through Iraq, respectively. They are among the earliest and most significant waterways of Mesopotamian civilization. Their mention anchors biblical Eden somewhere within the Fertile Crescent, a lush region where agriculture and civilization began. But the other 2 rivers, the Pishon and Gihon, puzzle scholars. Some suggest the Pishon is linked with the Persian Gulf or Arabian regions, while the Gihon might correspond with the Nile or another African river. Biblical descriptions portray Eden as a bountiful, well-watered garden, lush with fruit trees, supporting abundant life. Such imagery evokes fertile plains or river valleys where water sustains diverse flora and fauna. Eden was likely not a desert, but a paradise of verdant beauty, perhaps a hub of early civilization with advanced infrastructure, aquifers, or even sophisticated engineering. Geological evidence shows that during the late Pleistocene and early Holocene, roughly 10,000 to 6,000 years ago, the Fertile Crescent's landscape was markedly different. The climate was wetter, with extensive wetlands and lush vegetation. Rivers flowed more consistently, creating large floodplains and fertile soils, environmental conditions that could resemble biblical descriptions. This environment fostered early agriculture, laying the foundation for cities. Some researchers propose that Eden's protected garden, overlooking a thriving civilization, could align with ancient city ruins buried beneath sediment or volcanic ash. It's conceivable that a vast advanced city once thrived here, a sprawling metropolis combining natural beauty with human ingenuity, networked with complex water management systems like aqueducts, reservoirs, and irrigation canals, some possibly preserved beneath sediment layers awaiting excavation. Ancient texts from Sumer, Akkad, and Babylonia speak of magnificent cities and divine gardens, often describing interactions between mortals and gods. These stories could be echoes of a real place buried beneath the sands or mudflats. Some archaeologists hypothesize the biblical Eden was a pre-flood supercity lost or submerged over millennia due to shifting river courses, floods, or seismic events. Sedimentary records show evidence of massive floods reshaping Mesopotamian landscapes, events possibly linked to biblical flood stories. These floods could have destroyed entire civilizations, leaving clues in geology and topography. If Eden was located along this river network, natural disasters might have concealed its remains beneath flood deposits and alluvial sediments. The idea of Eden as an ancient supercity is supported by discoveries of large city remains with sophisticated waterworks, walls, and planning that rival later civilizations. Sites like Sumer or Ebla have extensive ruins, hinting at complex urban societies that might have once occupied the region. Identifying and dating such ruins could potentially align them with biblical descriptions of divine gardens, places of paradise and divine presence. All these clues, geographical and archaeological, suggest ancient landscapes could indeed match biblical descriptions. The fertile river valleys of Mesopotamia, with their waterways and lush plains, resemble a natural and human-made paradise. The region's history of transformations, floods, and lost cities perhaps fuels legends of a primordial paradise buried beneath layers of time. It's possible that a supercity, a vast advanced metropolis, has become buried and forgotten beneath sediment layers. Such a discovery could transform our understanding of early civilization, divine origins, and human history in this region. Could the remnants of Eden, whether a city, a garden, or both, still lie hidden beneath the Earth's surface waiting to be uncovered? The possibility continues to inspire explorers, archaeologists, and scholars, driven by the hope of revealing the true face of the biblical paradise. The debate surrounding the true nature of the Garden of Eden has persisted for centuries, dividing opinions into two main camps: those who see it as a real, historical location, and those who view it as a symbolic or metaphorical concept. Both perspectives come from different interpretations of ancient texts, religious doctrines, and archaeological evidence, each offering compelling arguments. Literalists argue that Eden was a tangible geographic place, citing biblical descriptions that mention specific rivers like the Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates. And these rivers are associated with regions around modern Iraq, Iran, Turkey, and the Middle East. Many believe that biblical Eden is rooted in real, lush regions that existed long before the current deserts. Archaeologists supporting this view have tried to match biblical descriptions with archaeological sites, suggesting that remnants of early civilizations or areas with advanced irrigation could be the real Eden. Some propose sites like the Mesopotamian floodplain, the Fertile Crescent, as the actual Garden of Eden, considering it a place where ancient humans thrived. They suggest the biblical story may reflect collective memory of a golden age of abundant nature and simpler life. Theological motivations also influence this view. For many believers, a literal Eden underpins faith in divine revelation. If Eden is just a metaphor, they fear the stories of creation, temptation, and the fall lose their literal authority. For them, placing Eden in a specific location lends credibility and spiritual weight to these narratives. However, concrete archaeological evidence for Eden as a precise place remains elusive. No artifacts or inscriptions definitively identify Eden or pre-flood civilizations that match biblical descriptions. Skeptics argue that the Eden stories may be poetic or allegorical, intended to convey moral truths rather than historical facts. This leads to the metaphorical interpretation: Eden as an allegory for human innocence, paradise lost, or harmony with nature. To proponents of this view, Eden is not a physical location but a symbolic beginning, an archetype of human potential and innocence lost. The lushness and divine presence in the story symbolize spiritual purity and mankind's initial state before the introduction of morality and sin. Metaphor advocates often emphasize the poetic language in Genesis. The four rivers could symbolize abundance, diversity, and interconnectedness rather than actual waterways. The speaking serpent might represent temptation or the awakening of consciousness. The story's moral choices and expulsion from paradise could symbolize human development, setbacks, and the ongoing quest for harmony. Historical critical approaches compare Eden to other ancient mythologies. Many scholars note similarities with Sumerian and Babylonian stories of a primordial paradise or golden age. These parallels suggest Eden may reflect a shared mythic memory, rather than a literal place, pointing to a universal archetype of a lost perfect world. For many, Eden symbolizes a universal longing for perfection, a state of existence that has been lost or remains unattainable since ancient times. This interpretation sees religious stories as allegories of internal states or collective consciousness, emphasizing internal morality and spiritual aspiration. The biblical text itself can be read on multiple levels. Some see Eden as historic fact, divinely inspired, rooted in geography and history. Others view it as a spiritual allegory that imparts moral lessons about obedience, morality, and human nature. This duality allows the story to be meaningful across different cultures and beliefs. Recent archaeological discoveries have fueled both sides of the debate. Some researchers claim to have found evidence of ancient urban centers resembling a pre-flood supercity, perhaps the biblical Eden. These sites include massive, sophisticated settlements buried beneath sediment layers dating back thousands of years. Skeptics warn, however, that correlation does not imply causation, and that evidence can be interpreted selectively to support particular theories. In conclusion, the leading theories about Eden focus on whether it was a specific historical place rooted in geography and archaeology, or a symbolic realm representing human ideals and spiritual truths. The literal perspective relies on biblical descriptions and potential archaeological clues, proposing Eden was a real location, possibly in Mesopotamia, marked by lushness and divine proximity. Conversely, the metaphorical view sees Eden as an archetype or mythic symbol of innocence, paradise or human longing for harmony and purity, something lost over time. Different sources, interpretive frameworks, and theological commitments drive these perspectives. Literalists seek tangible proof, viewing Eden as a real place. Metaphor supporters see it as a vital narrative, encapsulating human aspiration. The true essence of Eden might lie somewhere in this interplay, where history and myth, fact and symbol intertwine in the ongoing quest for understanding. Envisioning a sprawling, advanced city predating the biblical flood leads us to ancient civilizations that hint at such grandeur. Could these cultures be remnants of a larger interconnected supercity, possibly lost beneath layers of sediment or myth? Legends of submerged cities may reflect a time when humanity built towering structures, sophisticated infrastructure, and complex societies on a global scale. Starting in the Fertile Crescent, the Sumerians provide clues. Their city-states, Uruk-ur-Eridu, flourished around 4000 BCE in southern Mesopotamia. These cities had impressive architecture, irrigation, and one of the earliest writing systems, cuneiform, documenting myths, administration, and religion. Ziggurats symbolize societal ambitions and hierarchy. Some suggest these city-states were part of a wider interconnected urban network, a pre-flood super-city whose remains could be buried beneath sediment, myth, or both. In Anatolia, the Hittites built fortified cities like Hattusa, showcasing complex planning and engineering. Their walls and urban layouts imply an advanced culture possibly built on older foundations. Could Hattusa's remains hint at a larger pre-flood metropolis spanning now separated regions? Further east, the Indus Valley civilization, Mohenjo-Daro, Harappa, flourished around 2600 BCE, with remarkable urban planning, multi-story brick buildings, drainage systems, uniform bricks. The Indus script remains undeciphered. Some theorists suggest these urban centres are fragments of a global pre-flood civilization, an advanced urban network destroyed or submerged by waters of myth. Across the Atlantic, the early city of Caral in Peru around 3000 BCE displays monumental architecture and social complexity. Its ceremonial plazas suggest a sophisticated society. Could Caral or the Norte Chico civilization be remnants of a pre-flood supercity uniting peoples across the Americas? Similarly, Tiwanaku in Bolivia reveals advanced construction and rituals predating known South American civilizations, possibly linked to a lost, widespread urban network. In East Asia, early Chinese dynasties like Xia and Shang built vast cities along the Yellow River, with palaces and ceremonial centers indicating long urban development. Some suggest these descend from an even older, widespread civilization, devastated or submerged by legendary floods prominent in Chinese myths. Across regions, themes recur: elaborate urban planning, monumental architecture, social hierarchies. These remnants and legends might represent fragments of a vast interconnected pre-flood world, cities spanning continents and oceans, unified by technology and culture, then submerged by a great deluge. Many cultures speak of a golden age, divine cities, achievement, harmony, later swallowed by catastrophe. These myths imply collective memory of a magnificent civilization, an ancient urban paradise connecting all humankind. While physical evidence remains elusive, buried beneath millennia of earth and myth, the cultural echoes endure, hinting at a lost submerged metropolis. By piecing relics, legends, and mysterious ruins, the idea strengthens. Beneath sediment and legend may lie the remains of a pre-flood supercity, an ancient global hub of civilization, technology, and divine harmony. Discovering these secrets could reshape history, revealing a lost city at our origins, a marvel that once united humanity in an age of enlightenment and technological wonder. The quest urges us to look beneath the surface, challenge assumptions, and imagine a world where humanity's greatest city might still await rediscovery at the heart of mythic history. Recent archaeological discoveries suggest the existence of a super-urban civilization predating flood mythologies. Sites like Eridu in southern Iraq, dating to around 4000–3500 BCE, symbolize the dawn of urban life, marking the transition from nomadic tribes to settled societies. Some theorists believe Eridu was part of a larger complex of cities possibly erased or submerged by a flood. Northward, Uruk, dating to about 5000 BCE, is often called the world's first true city, with impressive walls and a ziggurat. It may have housed tens of thousands and been part of an extensive urban network across the Fertile Crescent, potentially destroyed or submerged during the flood legend. In Turkey, Çatalhöyük from around 8000 BCE was a densely populated, highly organized settlement. Though smaller than Mesopotamian cities, its interconnectedness hints at proto-urban development and suggests early contributions to a global pre-flood civilization. Göbekli Tepe, dating to around 11,000 BCE, features massive carved stones arranged in circles, serving as ritual centers. Its scale indicates a highly organized social effort, possibly linking a network of interconnected communities within a larger civilization that vanished during the flood. Some speculate it may be a remnant of biblical Eden, or part of a supercity lost to floodwaters. Beyond the Near East, the Indus Valley giants Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro, around 3000 BCE, display advanced urban planning, systematic drainage, grid layouts, public baths, indicating a sophisticated society possibly linked to earlier, lost civilizations and perhaps predating the flood. In China, Liangzhu, 300 BCE, showcases water management, elaborate jade work, and large earthworks, signaling a long history of urban development. Its advanced engineering hints at roots extending into antiquity, possibly connected to legendary places like Eden. Off Cuba's coast, the submerged Yonaguni monument features terraces and carved stones, leading some to speculate it's a sunken city predating recorded history. If verified, it could represent a lost super-urban center or continent that was destroyed by a deluge, aligning with biblical flood stories. These sites collectively hint at a long-lost civilization, possibly a super-urban complex, whose remnants are preserved in myths. Whether interconnected or independent, These early centres challenge conventional history and suggest that humans once built monumental societies capable of reaching astonishing scales, perhaps ending in a divine flood reset. Piecing this together, some propose the Garden of Eden was more than myth, a real place of divine proportions buried beneath layers of earth and water. Could these ruins be remnants of paradise civilizations whispered about for millennia? The answers lie beneath layers of history, hinting at great cities and advanced societies consumed by time and water. Profound questions follow. Was Eden symbolic or a tangible relic? Could it have been a city of divine or cosmic significance? Might these ancient urban centres have been part of a vast interconnected world destroyed or hidden by the flood? Evidence suggests a thriving, highly organised civilization, possibly a super-urban complex that vanished, leaving only traces. Remains indicate early humans might have built monumental societies of immense scale, now lost to time. Submerged ruins and ancient cities with sophisticated architecture point to a forgotten, powerful civilization. These civilizations could have shared cultural or spiritual links, forming a global network destroyed by catastrophe. Whether these remnants are mere stories or archaeological reality challenges traditional human history. The idea that a great civilization existed before the flood and was wiped out, leaving mythic memories, gains plausibility. We may need to revise our understanding of history, considering a long-lost advanced civilization that once spanned continents. Biblical stories of flood and Eden could stem from real memories of a once thriving divine cityscape. The buried ruins beneath oceans and earth might be the key, hidden chapters awaiting discovery. They whisper of a time when humanity constructed magnificent monuments, thrived in urban centres, then were swept away by forces beyond their control. Ultimately, these sites evoke awe and curiosity. Could the long-sought Garden of Eden be a real city lost beneath water and time? Are stories of paradise memories of an ancient super-urban realm? The truth remains hidden, buried beneath sands of time, waiting to be uncovered, whispering secrets of a civilization that once reached for the divine before vanishing beneath the waves. When discussing a pre-flood city, perhaps once a thriving metropolis before being submerged, geological layers are crucial. They serve as Earth's historical record, revealing environmental conditions, catastrophic events, or buried civilizations. The key question: do they support a global flood and a lost megacity, or tell a different story? Sediment layers around ancient Mesopotamian sites, modern Iraq, Syria, Iran, show complex deposits spanning thousands of years. These include river silts, flood deposits, and deep clay layers, indicating flooding episodes but not necessarily a single worldwide deluge. Many experts interpret these as resulting from frequent regional floods caused by seasonal rivers or climate shifts. This aligns with multiple flood layers representing distinct events rather than one global catastrophe. Proponents of the global flood hypothesis point to widespread sediment layers rich in ash, silt, or marine fossils, which they argue indicate planet-wide inundation. Skeptics note these global layers are often regional deposits that are extensive but not truly global. Many stem from regional tsunamis or storm surges instead of a single worldwide flood, suggesting multiple localized catastrophes rather than one universal event. Deeper in Earth's crust are ancient basalt layers and volcanic ash deposits, dating back billions of years. These indicate periods of intense early volcanic activity, unrelated to recent events. Those searching for signs of a pre-flood civilization sometimes claim that specific layers contain remnants of a supercity buried beneath ash or flood sediments. But this raises questions. Are these sediments consistent with rapid accumulation from a global flood, or do they reflect gradual buildup over millennia? A regional indicator of rapid flooding is the presence of massive layered alluvial deposits near ancient river terraces. These suggest episodes of quick, intense floods capable of transforming areas into watery graves, reminiscent of flood legends. Such layers often contain artifacts or remnants of early human activity, offering archaeological clues about habitation and destruction timelines. The debate persists. Do these layers point to a single, global flood destroying a pre-flood city, or are they regional events whose combined effects inspired universal flood stories? The fossil record offers further evidence of upheaval. Marine fossils found high in mountain ranges and within terrestrial sediments imply significant landscape upheavals. Some interpret this as evidence of massive floodwaters depositing marine life far inland. Critics argue these fossils result from long-term geological processes, plate tectonics, uplift, erosion, over millions of years, not a single rapid event. This leads to questions. Do these fossils support a sudden global deluge, or do they align with gradual Earth's natural history? Radiometric dating complicates matters, often indicating Earth's age extends billions of years. These methods challenge the idea that a recent global flood shaped current layers. If Earth is that old, then a flood just a few thousand years ago seems unlikely within this timeline. However, some suggest that radiometric dating relies on assumptions about initial conditions and decay rates, which might be interpreted differently to reconcile a younger Earth with a recent flood, though this remains controversial. Thus, geological layers present both evidence and challenge to the idea of a pre-flood, buried supercity. They support catastrophic flooding through evidence of rapid sedimentation, massive alluvial deposits, and marine fossils in unexpected places. Conversely, they suggest natural regional processes occurring over long timescales, which don't necessarily require a single global event or an ancient city buried beneath volcanic ash or flood sediments. The core of the debate is interpretation, the emphasis placed on rapid, catastrophic deposits versus Earth's broader story of gradual change. Are these layers remnants of forgotten megacities buried over eons, or do they illustrate Earth's natural evolution over vast periods? This ongoing dialogue captivates scientists, theologians, and explorers alike, urging reconsideration of what lies beneath our feet. It challenges how we reconstruct Earth's history, weighing evidence for sudden catastrophes against slow, geological processes over eons. In the end, geological layers serve as both evidence and puzzles. They reflect complex processes, volcanic activity, sedimentation, tectonics that span billions of years. They can support ideas of regional floods and rapid depositional events. Alternatively, they may exemplify natural slow processes that build Earth's features without requiring a single flood or lost civilization. Their interpretation largely depends on perspective, whether emphasizing catastrophic or gradual narratives. Ultimately, these layers leave more questions than answers, fostering scientific, archaeological, and theological dialogue. They challenge simplistic views of a recent catastrophic flood and prompt deeper inquiry into Earth's complex history. Are these layers the silent testimony of a forgotten megacity buried long ago, or do they form part of Earth's natural ongoing evolution? Whether as evidence of global catastrophe or slow geological change, these layers continue to puzzle and inspire. Understanding hinges on interpretation, balancing rapid deposition events against extensive gradual processes recorded by geology. The story they tell may be one of catastrophe or natural progression. The debate remains unresolved at the intersection of science, faith, and discovery. These layers prompt us to reconsider Earth's history, explore flood legends, and comprehend the deep story written in stone beneath our feet. They are a testament to Earth's dynamic past, whether as evidence of global catastrophe or of slow, majestic geological unfolding. The layers challenge and expand our understanding of Earth's past. They reflect complexity, volcanic, sedimentary, tectonic, that spans billions of years. They can support regional floods and rapid deposits, or depict natural processes shaping Earth gradually. Their meaning depends on perspective, catastrophic versus gradual. They leave us with more questions than answers, underscoring the importance of ongoing scientific, archaeological, and theological dialogue. Whether seen as evidence of global catastrophe or Earth's natural evolution, these geological layers remain vital to understanding our planet's deep history. Stories of great cities destroyed by floods have echoed across cultures, symbolizing divine punishment, hubris, and renewal. These tales are among the earliest recorded narratives, reflecting universal themes of loss and rebirth. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Epic of Gilgamesh features Utnapishtim surviving a divine flood that wiped out humanity. His story parallels Noah's in the Bible, and references a great, possibly Shuruppak city destroyed in the flood. These texts depict floods as divine retribution for wickedness, erasing entire cultures and reshaping history. The Hebrew Bible's story of Noah and the Ark focuses on salvation, but also hints at the destruction of civilizations or cities before the flood. The story emphasizes survival over the physical destruction of the city, linking the flood to divine judgment, including the fall of Eden. Other civilizations also tell of waters swallowing vast cities. Plato's legend of Atlantis describes an island empire that sank in one day and night of upheaval. Although considered myth or allegory, some believe these stories are rooted in real events, massive floods or seismic upheavals that radically altered landscapes. Archaeology has added intrigue. Explorers seek evidence of lost civilizations beneath sediment layers, uncovering submerged structures off Turkey, the Arabian Peninsula, and the Mediterranean. These ruins suggest flood-related destruction and may be linked to legendary flood cities, bridging myth and history. Chinese texts mention cities swallowed by floodwaters, preserved in poetry and records. The Moche civilization in Peru recounts legends of city destruction by natural disasters, possibly floods or tsunamis. Or these cross-continental narratives reflect a shared human experience of water-induced upheaval and loss. These stories often mirror geological events, massive floods, leaving lasting impressions on collective memory. Some suggest that these legends are based on actual historical catastrophes that reset communities. Researchers propose that linking legends with geological evidence could reveal a core truth: a significant deluge that reshaped Earth and its civilizations, leaving behind submerged ruins. The idea that the Garden of Eden was once a pre-flood super-city adds tension to these legends. If such a city existed, an epicenter of human achievement, it might have been a cradle of knowledge and divine wisdom. Perhaps everything was lost in an ancient deluge, remembered only in myths. The story of a mighty city destroyed by flood isn't just myth, it's a mystery awaiting discovery, connecting myth, archaeology, and human origins. Many ancient stories and archaeological finds suggest a shared history of water-related destruction. Underwater ruins in Turkey, the Mediterranean, and the Arabian Peninsula may be remnants of flood-affected cities. These discoveries support the idea that myths of great floods encode real events, massive natural disasters that shaped history. Legends from different continents tell of cities swallowed by water, indicating a collective memory of catastrophe. Chinese records describe submerged cities after floods, while Peruvian legends speak of natural barricades destroying civilizations. Such stories highlight a common human experience, floods shaping societies and inspiring myths passed down through generations. The recurring theme of a catastrophe destroying advanced cities might reflect real early floods. Geological evidence supports this possibility, with massive floods leaving an indelible mark on Earth's history. If these events occurred, their echoes could still lie buried beneath sediment and ocean, awaiting discovery. The hypothesis of a pre-flood Eden becomes more compelling if such a city was a pinnacle of human progress. Its destruction might be encoded in myths worldwide, transforming flood stories from mere legends into clues about a lost civilization. In some, tales of cities destroyed by flood are widespread. They embody divine punishment, hubris and renewal, illustrating a shared human experience. Scientific discoveries increasingly suggest these tales may stem from real ancient events, catastrophic floods that reshaped Earth. These legends suggest that natural disasters have always played a role in shaping civilizations and collective memory. Exploring these stories, mythical, archaeological and geological, may reveal how our ancestors understood and survived the world's great waters. The discovery of submerged structures and fossils beneath the ocean's surface has fueled curiosity among researchers, historians and explorers. It's as if Earth hints at secrets buried beneath water, waiting to be uncovered. If the Garden of Eden was a pre-flood super-city, these underwater mysteries take on new significance, potentially reshaping our understanding of ancient civilizations, history and myth. Imagine vast, city-sized formations lying silent beneath the waves, their contours carved by time and tides. These aren't mere geological anomalies. Many exhibit geometric patterns, rectangles, circles and grid-like arrangements, resembling man-made architecture rather than natural formations. Some align with astronomical or geographical features, suggesting intentional placement by intelligent beings. Such alignment hints these structures once formed an urban landscape, perhaps a hub of human activity before the Great Flood reshaped Earth. Fossils of early creatures and human ancestors found within or around these structures add another layer. When fossilized bones or artifacts appear in sediment layers associated with these formations, They tell stories of life long before recorded history. Societies thriving, cultures evolving, perhaps even of catastrophic events. If these fossils date to periods just before the flood, they could serve as physical evidence that advanced civilizations once existed, possibly building the super city we now consider lost. The significance of these remnants becomes clearer when considering their age. Dating techniques such as carbon dating, thermoluminescence, or uranium series dating reveal some structures beneath the water are tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of years old. These dates challenge conventional timelines, typically beginning around 5,000 years ago. If some of these structures predate known civilizations, it sparks the thought, could they be remnants of a lost pre-flood super city, a true Eden spanning a vastly different Earth? Further insights come from material compositions. Some contain unusual minerals, synthetic substances, or elements that don't naturally occur nearby. For example, traces of metals like titanium or alloys difficult to produce with ancient technology suggest that their builders had advanced knowledge. These findings point to a civilization capable of creating and maintaining vast underwater complexes, technology that may have been lost or suppressed over millennia. Fossils showing signs of advanced life forms, possibly giants, or beings matching ancient descriptions of pre-flood inhabitants, are also significant. Large human-like fossils found in sediment layers associated with submerged city sites increase speculation. Perhaps the city housed a race of beings, possibly giants, that met a watery end during the flood, reshaping the planet. These finds echo stories from myth and legend, hinting at a time when such beings roamed Earth. Marine fossils embedded within or atop these structures further underscore their ancient origins and the transformative power of the flood. Shells, coral growths, and marine life appear to have colonized the city's remains long after its abandonment or destruction. Their existence suggests these structures have been submerged for a very long time, enduring geological and oceanic processes. Marine overgrowth implies the city was part of a changing landscape, perhaps a coastal metropolis or inland river system overwhelmed during the flood. Many researchers suggest that the patterns and locations of these structures align with flood legends across cultures, stories of great deluges that wiped out civilizations and reshaped Earth's surface. Such myths might stem from real, catastrophic events recorded in geological layers, including sudden inundation of a sprawling pre-flood supercity. These legends could be echoes of a catastrophic event that created the submerged remnants we find today. High-tech sonar imaging, remote sensing, and sub-sea excavations are beginning to peel back myth's layers. Underwater drones and submersibles have revealed complex symmetrical formations, precise roads, bridges, temple complexes, and grid systems, defying natural explanation. These findings further support the idea that the ancient past contains remnants of an extraordinary civilization, perhaps even the origins of Earth's earliest advanced societies. All these submerged structures and fossils serve as silent witnesses to the possibility that a thriving, sophisticated society once existed, possibly the Garden of Eden itself, now transformed and submerged beneath the waves. They challenge conventional history and invite us to consider that what's visible above ground is just a fragment of a much larger story, long lost to time and water. If these relics are remnants of a pre-flood supercity, they would revolutionize our understanding of human history. They could confirm that ancient peoples built colossal, advanced cities, centers of knowledge and life, that were wiped away in a global catastrophe. Such a discovery would imply the paradise we seek was real, a place lost beneath oceans and sediments, waiting to be rediscovered. This possibility calls us to look deeper, challenge assumptions, and explore the idea that some of human history's greatest mysteries lie hidden beneath the waves, awaiting discovery by those brave and curious enough to find them. When considering where this ancient, possibly pre-flood supercity might lie, certain regions stand out, places aligning with historical tales, geological clues, and submerged structures hinting at a long-lost civilization beneath the waves. If we imagine a city that mirrored the grandeur of the Garden of Eden, an advanced hub of life and knowledge, some areas across the globe emerge as prime candidates. The waters off the Gulf of Mexico, especially near Mexico and the southeastern United States, have attracted researchers. The Deepwater Horizon spill and subsequent underwater explorations revealed anomalies, geometric formations, stone-like structures interpreted by some as ancient architecture. The Yucatan Basin, overlaying the Maya civilization's core, is especially intriguing because tales speak of grand, ancient cities swallowed by floods. Could these submerged ruins be remnants of a pre-flood supercity predating known civilizations? Moving east, the Black Sea's submerged landscapes are significant. About 12,000 years ago, a massive freshwater lake burst through a natural dam, flooding large land areas. Today, underwater structures dating back 20,000 years suggest a thriving society might have existed there long before recorded history. Across the Atlantic, legend of Atlantis persists. Though debated as myth, some believe ruins of an advanced city lie beneath the ocean's surface, destroyed in a cataclysm. In the North Atlantic, sonar anomalies along the Azores and between the Azores and Gibraltar hint at structures, possibly built by ancient civilizations wielding unknown technology. Nearby, the Mediterranean, especially around Sardinia, offers compelling clues. During the last ice age, lower sea levels revealed land masses now submerged. Unexplained underwater structures along continental shelves fuel theories of sprawling Eden-like cities buried beneath Mediterranean waters. In East Asia, legends speak of large landmasses that vanished during ancient cataclysms. Recent underwater discoveries off Japan and the Philippines include terraces, stone formations and ruins, suggesting a significant civilization thriving before being submerged by rising seas. The Indian Ocean coastlines, off India, Sri Lanka and Madagascar, also hold mysteries. Folklore features stories of great floods and advanced societies. Undersea explorations uncovered structures resembling artificial platforms or buildings, clues that oral histories may be based on real submerged ruins. These areas share features, evidence of ancient structures, submerged landscapes, stories passed down through generations, and geological upheavals explaining civilizational disappearances. Could some of these waters contain the origin of human civilization? A supercity surpassing anything known, perhaps the Garden of Eden? The truth may remain hidden beneath layers of sediment, awaiting discovery by explorers and technology. As exploration deepens, the idea that the most profound story is buried just beneath the surface becomes more plausible. A civilization of monumental proportions may have thrived beneath these waters, and it's difficult to dismiss that possibility. Each region's submerged structures and geological clues support a compelling narrative of a long-lost advanced civilization. These clues suggest a global pattern: oceans swallowing cities, floods transforming landscapes, stories evolving over millennia, indicating a shared history of sudden, catastrophic change that erased vast lands and civilizations. Modern technology increases chances of uncovering these truths. The idea that humanity's origins include a supercity, possibly the Garden of Eden, remains an alluring mystery. Finding it could reshape history, evolution, and our understanding of human achievement. The search continues, driven by curiosity and hope of uncovering a story buried beneath ocean depths. Every sonar image and archaeological find adds to the tantalizing possibility that beneath these waters lie remnants of an ancient super-civilization, proof that our history is richer and more mysterious than we think. The greatest discovery may still be beneath the waves, waiting for an explorer bold enough to reveal its secrets and rewrite the story of human origins. When uncovering a legendary site like the Garden of Eden, if it truly existed, geological and geographical clues become essential guides. They serve as Earth's breadcrumbs, guiding explorers and scientists toward buried cities or ancient landscapes that once hosted life and civilization. Imagine Earth's crust as a layered storybook revealing chapters from thousands of years ago. Geological clues such as sediment layers, fossil distributions, and mineral deposits can indicate past floods or climate shifts that reshaped regions. For instance, sediment layers containing freshwater fossils amid marine deposits might signal a sudden inundation, reminiscent of flood myths. Layers of silt and clay deposited rapidly suggest catastrophic events that quickly buried areas, preserving structures and artifacts. Mineral deposits are also significant. Layers rich in clay and silt with little erosion might have been a lagoon or basin filled with sediment. These clues help determine if the landscape was once lush and habitable, akin to Eden, or if natural forces transformed it. Fossilized remnants of ancient plants and animals help reconstruct past environments. Finds of tropical plant fossils buried beneath volcanic ash or flood deposits could indicate a vibrant paradise-like setting. If fossils of extinct species thriving in warm, wet climates are present, they suggest a thriving ecosystem that could inspire stories of paradise. Geographical clues complement geological signs. Studying topography and proximity to ancient coastlines helps identify land that has risen or fallen over time. Submerged river valleys and old shorelines beneath the ocean hint at land once above water, later submerged due to sea level rise or tectonic shifts. Specific arrangements, like symmetrical structures, terraces, or circular formations, may indicate human or semi-human origins. Satellite imagery and sonar scans can reveal subsurface anomalies, remnants of walls, foundations, or terraces buried in sediment, highlighting potential ruins worthy of exploration. Underwater caves and sinkholes are also key indicators. These natural features can serve as gateways to buried structures and tunnels. Artifacts, pottery shards, or carvings found within caves suggest prior habitation. Multiple caves containing signs of early engineering could point to a once thriving civilization, perhaps even the legendary Garden of Eden. Analysing earthquake and volcanic activity offers further insights. Regions near tectonic boundaries or with past eruptions might have experienced rapid burial or transformation. Ash layers from ancient eruptions can preserve entire landscapes, providing snapshots of environmental conditions before a disaster. These layers assist in dating upheavals that align with mythic stories of divine punishment or great floods. Geophysical surveys, such as magnetic and gravitational measurements, further aid discovery. Variations in magnetic fields may reveal walls or roads, while gravitational differences can highlight buried structures hidden beneath sediments. These tools enable detection of features not visible on the surface. Combining geological and geographical clues allows researchers to develop a comprehensive picture, a mosaic of evidence guiding exploration. Regions showing abrupt sediment changes, fossilized tropical plants, old shoreline indicators, and subsurface anomalies are prime candidates for further investigation. The convergence of multiple signals strengthens the case for potential discovery. This deductive process pieces together Earth's silent stories. Focus is placed where layers suggest sudden flooding, fossils reveal lush ecosystems, topography indicates land uplift or subsidence, and submerged features hint at human activity. The goal is to assemble diverse clues, sediment layers, fossils, landforms, underwater structures, to identify promising sites. Each discovery, a fossil, sediment layer, or submerged wall, adds a puzzle piece. These clues help move from speculation to targeted exploration, searching for the lost paradise hinted at in myth. Every find brings us closer to uncovering an ancient pre-flood city, possibly inspiring endless stories of utopia. Technological advances enhance this process. High-resolution sonar mapping, deep-sea submersibles, and remote sensing allow us to peer beneath water and sediment with precision. These innovations make previously inaccessible sites reachable, expanding our capacity to explore and hypothesize about origins and lost civilizations. Ultimately, every geological formation, geographical anomaly, and artifact underscores Earth's secrets, ancient stories buried beneath layers of history. These clues whisper of civilizations that rose high and vanished beneath the waves. Guided by science and curiosity, we edge closer to answering whether the Garden of Eden was a real location hidden in the depths of history, waiting to be rediscovered. By carefully analysing these interconnected clues, explorers can narrow their search and focus on promising regions. The convergence of sedimentary evidence, fossil records, topographical shifts, and subsurface anomalies forms a compelling mosaic. This comprehensive approach turns speculation into targeted investigation, bringing us nearer to uncovering the mythic landscape of paradise. Every piece of evidence, be it a fossil, sediment layer, or submerged structure, serves as a fragment of a larger story. Combining these clues allows us to imagine past environments, climatic events, and human activity. As technology advances, our capacity to detect and interpret these signs improves, increasing the likelihood of success. In the end, Earth's layered history contains countless secrets. These hidden stories of lost civilizations whisper beneath the surface, revealing evidence of ancient prosperity and catastrophe. Following these subtle clues driven by scientific innovation and curiosity, we hope to discover whether the legendary Eden was a real place, an untouched paradise beneath the sediment and water, waiting patiently to be uncovered. Satellite images and underwater archaeology are twin keys unlocking secrets hidden beneath layers of earth and water that long obscured the truth of ancient civilizations. They serve as modern explorers, extending our reach beyond what eye and hand alone can discover, turning the once impossible into tangible clues, bringing legends closer to reality. Satellite imaging has revolutionized the search for lost cities. From space, Earth reveals patterns and anomalies invisible from ground or underwater. Remote sensing technologies like multispectral and hyperspectral imaging detect subtle variations in soil, vegetation, and terrain, indicating buried structures. When a city or road network is covered by sediment, ash, or floodwaters, the land retains faint signatures, depressions, alignments, or plant differences that images can detect. A grid-like pattern of straight lines might suggest ancient walls, roads, or foundations hidden by time. Beyond visible light, techniques like radar and LiDAR, light detection and ranging, penetrate dense vegetation and murky waters. LiDAR has transformed discoveries beneath jungles, where canopy cover hides ground features. By sending thousands of laser pulses per second, LiDAR creates high-resolution 3D terrain maps revealing subtle features indicating ancient urban layouts, terraces, and irrigation systems once deemed lost. Once sites are flagged via satellite imagery, underwater archaeology explores beneath the waves. The ocean, often hiding civilizations swallowed by floods or rising seas, may contain physical evidence waiting to be uncovered. Tools like sonar mapping and remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, enable detailed seabed exploration. Side-scan sonar produces images of the seafloor, revealing submerged structures that cast shadows or form geometric shapes reminiscent of human-made constructions. Further investigation uses divers and underwater robots. ROVs with high-definition cameras explore depths too dangerous or inaccessible for humans, capturing images and videos of submerged buildings, walls, or artifacts. These underwater explorations have revealed structures resembling ancient city planning, rectangular platforms, dockyards, and intact foundations similar to known civilizations. Integration of satellite imagery and underwater archaeology creates a dialogue between space and sea. Satellite images provide broad landscape assessments guiding us toward promising areas with potential remnant cities. Underwater investigations then pursue these clues, literally, to find physical evidence. This approach turns guesswork into targeted searches, saving time and resources and increasing discovery likelihood. Advances like magnetometry and ground-penetrating radar refine satellite findings before excavation. Magnetometers detect variations in Earth's magnetic field caused by buried structures or artifacts of metals like steel or iron. These data confirm whether anomalies are natural or man-made, helping archaeologists focus efforts effectively. High-resolution 3D mapping and digital reconstruction allow virtual exploration of potential sites. This cross-section reveals city layouts, its core or central hub, possibly resembling mythic places like the Garden of Eden. Each technique adds understanding, transforming murky water or cloud-covered terrain into vivid images of ancient life. These technologies are more than discovery tools, they deepen understanding. Once confirmed as ancient cities, archaeologists analyze artifacts, pottery, tools, and building materials recovered. Radiocarbon dating and other methods help establish when the city flourished, providing a chronological context that may connect it to mythic events such as biblical floods. The synergy between satellite tech and underwater exploration makes the search for pre-flood civilizations a scientific pursuit grounded in cutting-edge technology. It's akin to fitting puzzle pieces from the sky, land, and sea. Every image, scan, and dive brings us closer to discovering whether the legendary Garden of Eden was a sprawling city beneath the ocean or remains hidden beneath myth layers waiting to be found. The real magic is in these technologies' continual evolution, opening new horizons. As satellite sensors become more precise and underwater tools more sophisticated, chances of uncovering definitive evidence increase dramatically. What lies beneath the seas might soon shift from legend to reality, rewriting history and reshaping our understanding of ancient human civilization. In essence, satellite images guide us to potential sites from space, highlighting promising terrain or submerged features. Underwater archaeology then explores these locations in detail, uncovering submerged structures and artifacts supporting historical or mythic narratives. The combined efforts refine our knowledge, connecting distant realms with ancient stories. This integrated approach turns speculation into systematic search. It uncovers physical evidence behind legends and myths, transforming epochs of conjecture into tangible discoveries. Every new tool, sensor, and technique enhances our ability to locate lost civilizations, revealing their remains in unprecedented detail. As technology advances, our capacity to explore hidden layers of the past increases. The fusion of satellite imagery, sonar, LiDAR, magnetometry, and digital mapping paves the way toward uncovering long-lost cities, perhaps even the legendary Garden of Eden. These technological marvels push boundaries, offering hope of transforming myth into history and opening pathways to understanding our ancient origins. 718 words. Certainly. Here is the shortened version of the text, precisely 574 words long. Certain geographic features are critical clues in the idea that submerged ruins or remnants of an ancient city could be the biblical Eden or a similar pre-flood metropolis. If such a sophisticated city existed before rising waters claimed it, its landscape would reveal valuable information. Would traces of river systems, mountain ranges, or other natural markers remain visible or detectable beneath the water's surface? That's where the search becomes both exciting and complex. For instance, if the ancient city was built along a river, much like the biblical rivers, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates, flowing through or near it, then modern river systems might align with these ancient waterways. Submerged archaeological sites near the Black Sea, off Turkey and Georgia, have revealed ancient river valleys that once channeled inland freshwater, supporting the idea of a lush, thriving ecosystem before a sudden flood. These ancient riverbeds sometimes turn into submarine channels detectable through sonar imaging, seismic surveys, or sediment analysis. Beyond rivers, mountain ranges offer vital clues. If the legendary site was once at the intersection of fertile plains and highlands, then traces of submerged ridges or elevated formations might remain buried beneath sediments, but still show detectable signatures. For example, submerged ridges beneath the Caspian Sea or Persian Gulf could be mountain relics, remnants of prominent geographic features. Such formations might have served as natural borders or high grounds, ideal for settlements due to the strategic vantage points or flood protection they provided. Geologically, these submerged formations might reveal telltale signs, unusual seismic anomalies, mineral deposits indicative of uplift, or structural patterns different from surrounding sediments. When combined with core sampling or underwater scanning, they can reconstruct past landscapes featuring hills, valleys, and waterways now buried beneath layers of silt and water. Sedimentation over thousands of years often obscures these features, but technological advances like multi-beam sonar and underwater LiDAR significantly improve our mapping and interpretation of submerged topography. Sometimes evidence converges, with submerged city layouts mirroring ancient plans, grid-like arrangements aligned with what would have been river courses. This suggests deliberate city planning around waterways for irrigation, transportation, and sustenance. Such alignment supports the notion that original settlements were established along energized streams and rivers. Freshwater springs and aquifers associated with fertile river valleys could also mark the landscape's past. If the city was located where abundant freshwater sources existed, traces of these systems might be preserved in sediments or detectable via geophysical surveys. Their presence would support stories of a lush, well-watered paradise. Additionally, underwater exploration has uncovered unusual alignments of formations, stone structures or artificial features that suggest human modification of landscape elements, like old riverbeds or mountain foothills. These constructions often follow patterns that imply efforts to manipulate water flow, crucial for a thriving city's sustenance. All these features, river systems, mountain ranges, stratified elevations and artificial modifications, form critical puzzle pieces. They help us locate where such a city might have thrived and how natural and human activities shaped it. If these features interconnect into an intricate landscape of waterways and highlands, they could point toward the legendary paradise's true location, a lost city embedded in geological history, submerged yet whispering ancient stories through the land beneath the waves. If you need further adjustments, let me know. Legends and local archaeological finds often serve as intriguing clues about ancient worlds long gone. whose echoes still linger in stories passed down through generations. Flood myths are recurring themes across cultures, from the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia to Greek stories of Deucalion and the biblical account of Noah's Ark. These stories focus on catastrophic inundation and earth-shattering change. Scholars debate whether they are poetic allegories or echoes of actual events. Some propose these myths stem from memories of real floods, perhaps linked to sudden inundations of coastal or river regions after the last ice age. Local archaeological finds support this idea, especially when submerged structures or artifacts are discovered in unexpected places. In the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and Southeast Asia, underwater excavations reveal ancient settlements beneath the waves. For instance, off Turkey's coast, submerged ruins suggest thriving land-based societies over 10,000 years ago, challenging timelines of human development. Pavlopetri in Greece, over 5,000 years old, exemplifies complex urban planning, a network of streets, courtyards, and tombs depicting a sophisticated Bronze Age society. These sites raise questions about their abandonment, whether it was gradual sea level rise or sudden. Rapid rises following floods or tectonic disturbances could explain stories of lost underwater cities, reflecting collective memories of these calamities. Further east, underwater ruins near river deltas in Southeast Asia reveal structures submerged beneath sediments. Some believe these are remnants of elaborate cities, possibly capitals, destroyed by rising waters. Such archaeological discoveries align with legends about land disappearing into the sea, implying natural disasters have left tangible marks on collective memory. In the Americas, large earthworks, mounds, and subsurface structures in Cahokia and the Andean regions offer additional insights. Many predate flood stories but reveal a history of climate variability causing environmental upheaval. Oral histories of floods and droughts, combined with archaeological evidence, reveal patterns. Stories of catastrophic climate events may be rooted in real episodes affecting entire civilizations. At the Black Sea region, natural geological features resemble ancient urban layouts or temples. Evidence indicates a large land-based community was swallowed by rising waters around 8,000 years ago. These findings align with the end of the last ice age, a period of significant sea level rise and climate change, reinforcing links between natural events and cultural memory. Notably, local myths describe features matching archaeological discoveries. Mountains or hills could be remnants of palaces or divine homes, while stories of sunken cities involve mysterious islands or underwater realms. Such stories aren't merely romantic tales, but may encode memories handed down over generations, impressions of events imprinted onto collective consciousness. Legends sometimes mention extraordinary architecture, advanced engineering, or mysterious inhabitants, aligning with archaeological evidence of thriving societies. These connections motivate researchers to investigate further, seeking evidence beneath sediment or submerged layers. Could legends and physical clues form parts of the same puzzle? Many scholars believe so. The convergence of oral traditions and archaeological finds supports broader theories about human resilience and adaptation. It suggests civilizations faced, survived, or fell to natural disasters of massive scale, with collective memory shaping stories across continents and millennia. These stories serve as warnings, cultural touchstones, or explanations for seemingly inexplicable phenomena. For the search for the Garden of Eden, or a lost super city buried beneath the ocean, these legends are vital guides. They point to regions where landscapes have changed dramatically, and where geological and archaeological clues whisper about water covering once dry land. Myths, stories, and artifacts form a tapestry, urging exploration into submerged landscapes and ancient floods. In essence, legends and archaeological finds act as a map of human memory, sometimes blurred, sometimes detailed, but always valuable. When combined with advanced underwater exploration and scientific dating, they help reconstruct human responses to environmental change. Each discovery brings us closer to understanding how water shaped civilizations, how floods, sea level rises, and climate shifts led to triumphs, migrations, or collapses. Stories of mysterious islands, sunken temples, or lost cities may be more than myths. They could be collective memories of real calamities. Many describe architecture, inhabitants, or environments that match archaeological findings. Such correlations bolster the idea that myths encode historical truths preserved across generations. Recognizing these patterns can unlock new chapters of history, revealing secrets beneath the waves. As research progresses, it becomes clearer that natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, sea level rise, shaped ancient landscapes. This links legends with physical evidence, illustrating how societies responded to upheaval. Stories may serve as warnings or lessons, surviving long after the events faded into history. In the ongoing quest for lost civilizations, legends and archaeological finds act as complementary tools, maps of collective memory and tangible evidence united. They guide explorers to regions where landscapes have been transformed, providing clues that water once reshaped terrain. Integrating myth and science offers a more comprehensive view of the past, helping locate submerged cities or ancient habitats. In conclusion, legends and archaeological discoveries weave a tapestry, a visual guide pointing toward landscapes reshaped by water. They hint at a submerged past of advanced societies, natural disasters, and lasting cultural memories. Through careful interpretation and technological advances, we are close to uncovering what lies beneath the earth and sea, lost worlds, perhaps even the original Garden of Eden. Connecting these clues requires patience, curiosity, and openness, valuable tools in deciphering the stories woven into our collective consciousness. The clues are present. It is our task to interpret and uncover what history has hidden beneath the waves. Across the ages, archaeologists have uncovered mysterious relics suggesting a civilization predating known history, a metropolis that might have been the Garden of Eden or a hub of divine knowledge. These discoveries span continents, oceans and depths where history seems swallowed by earth or submerged beneath waters. One notable site is Göbekli Tepe in southeastern Turkey, dating to around 11,000 years ago. This megalithic complex predates agriculture and early civilizations like Mesopotamia or Egypt. It features carved stones arranged in circles, decorated with animal motifs and abstract symbols. Göbekli Tepe appears to have been a sacred gathering place, possibly a spiritual or divine center, long before Sumerians or Akkadians formed their cities. Some researchers view it as a lost chapter of human development, a spiritual metropolis that predates flood myths, hinting at a society with religious and social organization far ahead of its time. Contemporaries include Sest, Jericho, often called the world's oldest city, flourishing around 10,000 years ago. Jericho's massive stone walls imply urban planning and social cohesion, suggesting a thriving metropolis possibly part of a pre-flood civilization. Its shell may have stretched across fertile plains, with pathways and communal spaces, amassing into a super-community rivaling later ancient metropolises, with interconnected districts and shared religious sites. Further north, beneath sediment layers in the Nile Delta, lie remnants believed to be an advanced pre-flood city. Submerged structures, carbon-dated to thousands of years before recorded civilizations, suggest a complex urban fabric suddenly engulfed by rising waters. The discovery of submerged walls, paved streets, and stone tools deep beneath the Mediterranean has sparked debate. Was this a city thriving in early human history, lost in a flood echoing the story of Noah? Westward, off the Bahamas coast, the legendary Bimini Road consists of submerged limestone blocks arranged in ancient masonry patterns. Some interpret it as remnants of a lost city, possibly linked to Atlantis, a myth of a prehistoric, technologically advanced civilization predating history. Could this be a fragment of a metropolis existing before the Great Deluge? Investigations continue, but many find these submerged structures intriguing clues to a sophisticated pre-flood civilization buried beneath the waves. In Peru's Caral valleys, an astonishing complex of pyramids, plazas, and residential areas dates back nearly 5,000 years. Some suggest earlier, submerged settlements in the region may have existed even before those grand sites. The idea that these are remnants of a greater, ancient urban network, possibly connected globally before the flood, drives ongoing excavations and theories. In Asia, the Yonaguni Monument, off Japan's coast, is a submerged stone structure resembling a platform or pyramid. Its origins remain debated, natural formation or ancient ruin. But if it's a shard of a continent-scale city submerged after a catastrophic flood, it could be a relic of a pre-flood super-metropolis, silent beneath the ocean and waiting to reveal its secrets. Across the Pacific, the excavation at Çatalhöyük in Turkey has uncovered a highly developed Neolithic settlement, homes packed densely, with communal areas and religious symbols indicating a thriving city. If such settlements developed so early, larger-scale structures might have once stood, major metropolises serving as cultural, religious, and technological hubs before they were lost to catastrophic events. What makes these findings compelling is not just their age, but their sophistication, the architecture, celestial alignments, intricate carvings, and symbols that seem to encode knowledge. These clues hint at a civilization with advanced understanding of astronomy, engineering, and spirituality, akin to the mythic Garden of Eden, symbolizing divine perfection and harmony. Geological evidence bolsters the idea that these sites are remnants of cities buried by catastrophe. Ancient sediments containing ashen flood deposits overlay some structures, supporting the theory of a sudden massive deluge erasing or submerging them. Each artifact and site forms a breadcrumb in a larger story, one suggesting the Garden of Eden may have been a real thriving pre-flood city, shaped by chaos but preserved in human memory. These finds serve as tantalizing hints, whispers from the past, that urge deeper exploration of submerged sites and challenge the accepted timeline of human progress. Piecing these clues together, we may someday uncover the true story of a lost metropolis, a divine city that once stood at the center of human origins, waiting beneath the waves to reveal the secrets of our earliest, most extraordinary chapter. The story of ancient cities buried beneath sediment layers is written in the earth itself. When scientists examine stratified deposits accumulated over thousands or millions of years, they find evidence supporting the idea of long-lost cities beneath flood sediments. These layers are more than dirt. They are silent witnesses, holding clues about catastrophic events, environmental shifts, and civilization rises and falls. Sediment layers form gradually in quiet environments, like a river depositing silt, clay, sand, and organic matter as it flows. Over time, these materials settle and compact into distinct layers. During floods, however, rivers swell beyond their banks, rushing with force and carrying sediments, debris, and sometimes even remnants of structures, broken pottery, building fragments, and artifacts. When floodwaters recede, they leave behind a chaotic, thick deposit of sediments, blanketing entire regions, effectively sealing everything beneath. Scientists look for specific clues in these layers to determine whether a deposit indicates an ancient flood or a buried city. A key feature is the abrupt transition between layers, sudden changes in sediment type, color, or texture. For example, a fine grey clay suddenly covered by coarser gravel signals rapid deposition typical of a high-energy flood event. These are called transitional boundaries, and their sudden nature suggests a rapid, catastrophic process rather than slow build-up. Flood markers, traces of extraordinary natural events, are also vital. Layers rich in volcanic ash, deposited in a single event, or containing evidence of destruction, broken artifacts, crushed bones, disorganized debris, match descriptions of a devastating flood. Sometimes these layers contain fossils of aquatic life found at higher elevations, indicating that waters once rose substantially above current levels, submerging landscapes and settlements. The chemical composition of deposits can reveal environmental upheavals. Elevated mineral levels like glauconite or specific isotopes suggest rapid sedimentation linked to floodwaters. Dating techniques such as radioisotope analysis help establish when these layers formed. If the age coincides with known geological events or flood myths, it becomes compelling evidence supporting the hypothesis of a buried city beneath. Physical structures within sediments such as mud cracks, crossbedding, or ripple marks indicate rapid deposition and water movement. Crossbedding, inclined layers formed during flowing water, suggest dynamic, powerful events like rivers or tsunamis. Their presence supports the idea that a forceful flood quickly laid down sediments, possibly entombing a thriving city within. Archaeologists investigating these layers seek evidence of human activity, foundations, walls, tools that have been buried beneath flood deposits. If such structures date to periods matching flood narratives from myths or religious texts, the possibility arises that these are remnants of civilizations lost to floodwaters. Could they be the legendary Garden of Eden? Might they be a pre-flood civilization suddenly submerged? While sediment accumulation can result from gradual processes, catastrophic floods leave distinctive signatures, massive sudden deposits that cut through earlier layers like earth-shattering scars. These layers can be several meters thick, with chaotic distributions of artifacts and natural debris forming a time boundary across large areas. This widespread deposit indicates a powerful flood event rather than localized erosion. Modern technologies, ground-penetrating radar, seismic imaging, remote sensing, enable scientists to detect and visualize buried structures beneath sediment layers. These tools help construct a three-dimensional picture of what once covered the area. When images reveal walls, foundations, or artifacts beneath flood deposits, the case for a buried city strengthens. Chronological dating further supports the idea of a city buried by floodwaters. Techniques like radiocarbon dating or optically stimulated luminescence determine the timing of sediment layers. If these dates align with known environmental events or flood myths, it adds weight to the hypothesis of a lost civilization, possibly even the biblical Eden, that was overtaken by a great deluge. Each sediment layer tells part of Earth's history, representing quiet refuges or sites of sudden upheaval. By examining abrupt transitions, flood markers, artifacts, and precise dating, researchers piece together an interconnected narrative. Beneath these ancient flood deposits may lie the remnants of cities with divine or mythic origins, perhaps even the legendary Garden of Eden waiting for discovery. Earth's layers serve as a history book. Every layer is a chapter, revealing whether a site was peaceful or violently upheaved. When these clues, abrupt layer changes, flood indicators, architectural remains, and dating evidence are combined, they form a compelling story, one supporting the possibility that beneath these ancient flood deposits lies a buried city, perhaps with divine origins, lost in a great deluge, waiting to be uncovered. Throughout Earth's history, the planet has been torn and reshaped by sudden, catastrophic events that left lasting marks on civilizations and landscapes. These upheavals, often seismic or flood-related, could be echoes of a long-lost pre-flood supercity, possibly the Garden of Eden, submerged and buried beneath sediments, waiting to be uncovered. One compelling evidence is from massive impact events that scarred Earth's surface. The Chicxulub crater in Mexico, about 100 miles across, was created by an asteroid or comet roughly 65 million years ago. This event triggered global devastation, tsunamis, wildfires, climate shifts, and likely wiped out entire cities swiftly, leaving behind layers of destroyed architecture and fossilized remains buried beneath sediments. Similarly, volcanic activity has played a key role in Earth's destructive history. The Toba supervolcano eruption in Indonesia, around 70,000 years ago, was one of the largest in 2 million years. It expelled approximately 2,000 cubic miles of ash, causing a volcanic winter that drastically lowered temperatures. Evidence from ice cores and sediments shows a sharp climate decline, possibly leading to the collapse of civilizations or urban centers affected by fallout. Ancient myths about fiery skies and apocalyptic landscapes may have been inspired by such calamitous eruptions. Massive earthquakes have also left their mark. The 1556 Shanxi earthquake in China, estimated at an 8 on the Richter scale, killed nearly 100,000 people. Archaeological excavations reveal ruins destroyed abruptly, homes flattened, temples toppled, urban plans razed in moments. Seismic events like this can obliterate cityscapes instantly, scattering remnants and causing sudden abandonment. Floods, both local and immense, constitute another chapter of Earth's destructive history. The Black Sea deluge theory suggests that around 7,000 years ago, rising sea levels caused a catastrophic flood, transforming a freshwater lake into a saltwater sea, displacing populations. Submerged settlements, inundated land, and sediment layers rich in marine fossils on former drylands indicate enormous events capable of wiping out entire communities. Similar evidence appears at sites like the Yangtze River and Nile Delta, where abrupt layers of silt suggest sudden floods, natural disasters with potentially total city obliteration. Modern discoveries include underwater river valleys and submerged structures dating back thousands of years, found beneath the Mediterranean, Black Sea, and parts of Southeast Asia, regions known for volcanic activity and rising seas after glacial melting. Some researchers hypothesize these submerged features could be remnants of pre-flood cities, thriving urban centers that succumbed to sudden inundation. All these geological clues, impact craters, ash layers, sediment deposits, tsunami evidence, submerged structures, compose a tapestry of Earth's violent history. They point to moments when the planet's calm was shattered, unleashing chaos that could have destroyed ancient supercities, leaving scattered ruins beneath ocean surfaces. Interpreted through myth and legend, such events may reflect real, global disasters that shaped collective memory of Paradise Lost. Examining these clues makes it plausible that the Garden of Eden, or similar early civilizations, faced sudden, catastrophic collapses. The submerged remnants below the waves aren't just relics of the past. They could be silent witnesses to stories of divine gardens turned into abyss, tales buried under sediment layers, waiting to be uncovered by those who know where and how to look. Imagine standing amid the remnants of a city lost beneath layers of sediment and time, whispering secrets of a mastery long thought impossible by prehistoric standards. When examining submerged ruins and geological anomalies linked to these ancient sites, a pattern emerges, one suggesting extraordinary engineering, ingenuity and knowledge that might surpass what we attribute to civilizations like Egypt or Mesopotamia. Some submerged structures near the Indian Ocean and South China Sea challenge our understanding of prehistoric construction. Large, perfectly symmetrical stone blocks fit with such precision that modern engineers marvel at the craftsmanship. Their alignment suggests a sophisticated knowledge of astronomy and geography, with orientations aligning to celestial events or cardinal directions deliberately and precisely. A remarkable feature is the extensive network of water management systems, canals, reservoirs, underwater aqueducts spread across these sites. The scale and complexity resemble early hydraulic engineering, perhaps even exceeding Egypt's or Mesopotamia's waterworks. Could a pre-flood city have developed technologies for manipulating water, directing rivers, or managing floodwaters, possibly preventing catastrophe or facilitating lunar and solar alignments? Certain constructions appear built with techniques that defy simple explanation. Some stones have been cut or shaped with high precision, possibly using heat or high-pressure methods unknown to prehistoric societies. Massive stone blocks with smooth surfaces and perfect angles have been assembled into resilient monolithic walls and platforms, surviving floods and the test of time. Many of these ruins also display remarkable alignments with solstices or equinoxes, suggesting builders possessed observational astronomy capable of tracking celestial movements over decades or centuries. Such precise orientations point to a society that understood and harnessed natural cycles, with architecture and astronomy intertwined, implying knowledge beyond mere chance. Evidence of underground or underwater chambers, sanctuaries, and tunnels further hints at complex multi-purpose structures, ritualistic, navigational, or perhaps related to an early energy grid. Some researchers propose these could have been used to channel or harness natural geophysical phenomena like Earth's magnetic fields or resonances, which modern science is only beginning to explore. These structures, precise geometries and orientations, may have reflected an advanced understanding of Earth's energies, an ancient science now lost. Materials derived from unusual sources provide additional clues. Some stones and sediments contain strange mineral compositions, high silica and magnetic minerals, suggesting intentional manipulation or creation of specific environments. Such materials point toward advanced metallurgical or mineral processing capabilities, perhaps for energy, communication, or spiritual purposes. The scale and consistency of these features across different regions, on continents and submerged landscapes, indicate a network of interconnected knowledge, possibly part of a larger civilization, or collective consciousness spanning thousands of miles. How could ancient cultures, with only rudimentary tools and obscure technologies, achieve these feats? The question remains open, but the overall evidence suggests a civilization wielding advanced technology far beyond what we once believed prehistoric societies could attain. Could flood myths hint at a great natural catastrophe, one that submerged these cities and erased the memory of an advanced civilization that mastered the elements? Clues from archaeological and geological investigations point to remnants of a pre-flood supercity, an epicenter of innovation and spiritual knowledge, seamlessly blending engineering with cosmic understanding. Scientists and engineers increasingly rely on modern tools, 3D mapping, sonar, chemical analysis, to peel back layers of sediment and myth. Each discovery raises new questions, fueling curiosity and challenging assumptions about our distant past. Could our ancestors have been more than mere stone tool users? Might they have constructed cityscapes, harnessed natural energies, built waterworks and celestial observatories, capabilities still largely beyond current understanding? Signs like massive stone architecture, precise alignments, water management features, and unusual mineral compositions make dismissing these as mere natural formations impossible. They suggest instead the remnants of a forgotten human achievement, an era when civilization, perhaps guided by divine knowledge or lost science, pushed boundaries thought unreachable before the Great Flood reshaped Earth. Are these signs of advanced ancient engineering surpassing known prehistoric capabilities? The evidence increasingly points to yes, if not science fiction, then a chapter of history that defies conventional narratives about our ancestors. As technology advances and new sites are explored, we may someday uncover definitive proof that our origins are far more complex and extraordinary than we've imagined. While the idea of a pre-flood supercity linked to the Garden of Eden is an intriguing myth, blending mystery and potential discovery, scientific arguments cast doubt on this hypothesis. These mainly derive from geology, archaeology, and climate studies, which collectively suggest that a single advanced pre-flood metropolis is highly unlikely. The geological record shows little evidence of such a civilization before the flood. Sediment layers, ice cores, and strata reveal natural processes like volcanic eruptions, tectonic shifts, glacial periods, and large-scale floods. These leave distinct signs, volcanic ash layers, sediment shifts, fossilization, that scientists study meticulously. Instead of a singular supercity wiped out by a colossal flood, the evidence supports a history of dispersed settlements that gradually expanded over millennia. Archaeological findings also fail to support the existence of a sprawling metropolis predating established civilizations like Sumer, Egypt, or the Indus Valley, which emerged around 3000–4000 BCE. These civilizations' remnants, dated through radiocarbon, pottery, and architectural features, are well documented. If a complex supercity existed before the flood, substantial ruins would likely have been uncovered. Instead, what is found are scattered, simpler settlements indicating an evolutionary development, rather than a sudden, catastrophic wipeout of a sophisticated society. The nature of the flood itself further challenges the myth. Geological evidence shows that the most recent major floods, such as the end of the last ice age about 12,000 years ago, involved gradual melting of ice sheets and rising sea levels, not sudden global deluges. While localized megafloods like the Black Sea Breach or the Messinian salinity crisis did occur, these were regional events. Their geological signatures show intense but localized flooding, incompatible with the idea of a universal deluge capable of destroying an advanced civilization. Modern technology also challenges the idea of a hidden supercity beneath layers of sediment, ocean, or ice. Submarine archaeology, seismic imaging, and satellite surveys continue to uncover submerged landscapes and ancient riverbeds. If such a city had existed and been submerged, evidence would likely be present: unusual structures, submerged ruins, or anomalous artifact concentrations. The lack of clear signs suggests it probably never existed in the form myth and speculation suggest. Climate models indicate early Earth's climate was very different from today, with extensive ice sheets and fluctuating sea levels. However, even during periods of climate upheaval, the environment would have been inhospitable to the development of complex city-sized civilizations. Early humans were mostly nomadic hunter-gatherers, gradually developing farming and small villages. The leap to a supercity would require societal organization and technological advances that are unsupported by archaeological evidence for thousands of years prior. Additionally, the timeline of human evolution supports a gradual development of civilization. Archaeological records show a slow progression: tools, farming, simple dwellings, over tens of thousands of years, rather than the sudden appearance of sprawling urban centers. The concept of a lost Eden or divine paradise turns supercity conflicts with this evidence, which indicates a steady growth of human societies. While the mythic allure remains, scientific scrutiny emphasizes the importance of rigor. The universe's history, based on current evidence, favors a complex, evolving human story rooted in smaller settlements and regional events, rather than a single ancient pre-flood metropolis hidden beneath layers of earth or water. The ongoing search is driven by curiosity and wonder, but the scientific consensus remains skeptical of a supercity existing before the flood. Throughout history, numerous ancient texts and mythologies have recounted stories of powerful cities facing catastrophic destruction, often by flood or natural disaster. These stories cross cultures and continents, hinting at a time when civilization was suddenly overwhelmed by forces that buried or erased entire cities from memory. The Epic of Gilgamesh. From Mesopotamian mythology is one of the most famous sources. It tells of King Gilgamesh and his quest for immortality, but also includes a story of a great flood sent by gods to punish humanity. Utanapishtim builds an ark to preserve life, and after the waters recede, he finds a renewed earth. Scholars see parallels between this and the biblical story of Noah's Ark, suggesting the flood references an ancient destructive deluge that submerged a sophisticated city or civilization. In the Bible, the book of Genesis narrates Noah's Ark and the Great Flood, a divine deluge destroying all but the stored survivors. Some interpret this as divine judgment, while others see it as a record of a real catastrophic event that wiped out a thriving prehistoric civilization. The story mentions Eden before the flood, leading to the idea that it might symbolize an advanced, lush civilization lost beneath the waters. Ancient Egyptian texts also mention city destruction through natural forces. The myth of Osiris and the destruction of city of On, Heliopolis, involves divine wrath and chaos. While primarily religious or mythological, these stories suggest real memories of cities suffering natural calamities like floods or earthquakes, which evolved into myth over generations. In the Indian epic Mahabharata, there are accounts of cities or lands submerged by flood, particularly in the context of the Great Deluge shaping the world in Hindu cosmology. These stories describe cities swallowed by water, often linked with divine punishment, emphasizing recurring themes of civilization destruction by water. In the Americas, the Mayan civilization recorded stories of vanished cities and great floods. Archaeological evidence shows that some cities were abandoned due to environmental changes, including droughts and floods. The Popol Vuh, the sacred Mayan text, describes the destruction of the world and its cyclical rebirth, with floods as a central motif. Researchers believe these stories preserve memories of real events, where rising waters or storms devastated settlements. Chinese mythology is rich in flood legends, notably the story of the Great Flood under Emperor Yu the Great. According to myth, massive floods ravaged the land until Yu tamed the waters with engineering and divine aid. Archaeology suggests these stories may have been inspired by real floods that destroyed early Chinese settlements, reflecting regional environmental catastrophes. Across the Aegean and Mediterranean, flood and city destruction stories appear in Greek and Roman mythologies. Plato's myth of Atlantis describes a highly advanced civilization sinking into the Atlantic due to hubris and divine punishment. While Atlantis may be allegorical, some scholars speculate there may be basis for actual submerged city remains, possibly linked to post-Ice Age rising waters. These stories across continents and centuries reveal a human recognition of cities and societies destroyed by natural forces, especially floods. Whether based on historical events or collective memory, they serve as reminders of the vulnerability of civilization to nature's immense power. The notion that the Garden of Eden was once a thriving pre-flood metropolis persists. Echoes of these stories suggest that beneath the waters, remnants of this legendary paradise may still lie hidden, buried beneath layers of earth or submerged in the ocean's depths. Across the globe, archaeological discoveries have ignited imaginations, especially when artifacts seem to tell a story much larger than just a single civilization. Beneath layers of sediment and ocean silt, remnants of an immense, sophisticated structure might reveal secrets of a pre-flood supercity, possibly the legendary Eden itself. Take the submerged city of Dwarka off India's coast. For centuries, local legends spoke of a magnificent city lost beneath the waves. Underwater excavations have uncovered what some believe are ruins of a planned city, with advanced architecture and water management systems. The formations, walls, gateways, terraces suggest a high level of urban planning, a grid layout, large communal areas, complex construction techniques beyond simple villages. Could these be remnants of a supersized metropolis built before the Great Deluge? Some researchers argue that the scale and sophistication of these structures indicate a civilization that once rivaled or surpassed ancient powers. In the Mediterranean near Cyprus, submerged ruins have prompted similar hypotheses. Exploration of the Azores submarine mound revealed enormous walls and foundations, baked by time but indicating a sprawling, possibly multi-tiered city. These structures aren't small settlements. They show extensive engineering, large, precisely cut stones, terraces following the seabed's contours, and unusual stone alignments hinting at a grand architectural vision. Interpreters suggest these features point to an advanced, perhaps pre-flood metropolis, wiped out in a catastrophic event. Further east, in the Black Sea region, seismic studies and underwater excavations have uncovered debris and city-like formations beneath the sandy seafloor. Interpreters see this as evidence of a sudden, catastrophic flood, possibly the biblical deluge, that buried an extraordinary city. Artifacts include pottery, tools, and remnants of large structures, suggesting a developed civilization with organized social life. The artifact's scale and uniformity hint at a complex society. Notably, the apparent alignment with flood legends links geological evidence to mythic stories passed down through generations. In Mexico, discoveries challenge traditional narratives. Sonar imaging reveals large platforms, artificial mounds, and linear structures that defy conventional explanations. These formations seem deliberately arranged, hinting at a sophisticated urban center, possibly a sprawling pre-flood city teeming with life. Some artifacts are dated to thousands of years before known civilizations, offering a glimpse into a lost world that might have exceeded early society's capabilities. From Göbekli Tepe in Turkey to Japan's Yonaguni, artifacts and structures have been scrutinized worldwide. These include massive stone monoliths, carved statues, and extensive city walls, features that seem almost impossible for their period. Their size, precision, and complexity suggest builders possessed knowledge of large-scale construction lost over time. These artifacts support the idea of a supercity primarily through their scale and technological sophistication. Ordinary ancient settlements leave pottery shards, tools, and simple walls, but the presence of massive stone blocks arranged with geometric precision, large drainage systems, and multi-level construction could indicate a city larger than a mere community, possibly a mega-urban centre with advanced infrastructure requiring centralised planning and technological prowess. Many researchers interpret alignments of structures, artifacts, and geographic features as deliberate, pointing to a vast urban landscape spanning kilometres, comparable to modern cities but on an even grander scale. The construction techniques, demonstrating understanding of acoustics, hydraulics, and materials, imply a resource-rich, coordinated society. The fact that these artifacts are often found submerged, associated with sudden inundations, fuels suspicion they are remnants of a mythic Eden or pre-flood world. Why are these sites so challenging to interpret within traditional archaeology? For decades, many were dismissed as natural formations or small, unremarkable ruins. Only recent advances in underwater archaeology, scanning technology, and interdisciplinary approaches have allowed us to reframe these sites as fragments of a once great supercity, possibly the Garden of Eden, wiped away by natural disasters, leaving clues buried under thousands of years of sediment. Some artifacts seem out of place, showing signs of advanced craftsmanship inconsistent with their attributed ages. This has led some to suggest they are leftovers from a high-tech civilization destroyed in a global catastrophe, perhaps the Great Flood recounted in myths worldwide. These artifacts are not just remnants but puzzle pieces, hinting at a more technologically advanced world lost to antiquity's waters. Each discovery fuels the idea of an ancient supercity, an epicenter of civilization, knowledge, and ambition, now submerged but waiting to be rediscovered. These findings challenge conventional views of human progress, suggesting our ancestors might have possessed engineering skills and societal organization far beyond what we once believed. They hint at a thriving civilization so vast that its remnants are just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment, when technology catches up, to reveal an almost mythical past. In summary, artifacts from various sites, whether submerged cities, megaliths, or sophisticated structures, point toward the existence of a supercity built before major natural cataclysms. Their scale, technology, and alignment with flood legends foster the hypothesis of a lost civilization of remarkable size and sophistication. As underwater archaeology advances, these structures may soon redefine human history, unveiling a past of grandeur buried beneath sediment and myth, waiting to emerge. Throughout human history, ancient art, artifacts, and archaeological findings depict cityscapes, flood scenes, and natural disasters, offering clues about early civilizations' encounters with water catastrophes. These images, sometimes literal, sometimes symbolic, reflect collective memories, myths, and possibly historic deluges that reshaped landscapes and societies. Ancient Mesopotamian reliefs, seals, and tablets are prominent sources. They depict bustling cities with architecture like ziggurats, temples, marketplaces, and residences, showcasing craftsmanship and urban planning. Some reliefs and cylinder seals vividly portray waters overtaking cities, with figures fleeing or boats navigating turbulent waters. The Epic of Gilgamesh recounts a great flood sent by gods to punish humanity. Similar cuneiform inscriptions describe cities destroyed by deluge, suggesting real or legendary events that impacted early civilizations. Chinese art from the Han, Tang, and later dynasties frequently depicts enormous floods inundating towns and plains. Scroll paintings such as the Great Flood show massive deluges covering cities, images of water surging over walls and streets. These works serve both historical and moral functions, highlighting nature's power and human resilience. Chinese records mention large floods along the Yellow and Yangtze rivers, some undoubtedly affecting urban centers, with stories passing into myth and official histories. In the Mediterranean, Greek and Egyptian art also depict flood scenes. Greek pottery often illustrates boats navigating turbulent waters past destroyed cities, echoing stories like Deucalion's flood, which resembles biblical narratives. Egyptian tomb paintings sometimes depict divine floods or the Nile's inundation, crucial to Egyptian agriculture and urban life. The annual Nile flood, carefully managed, may have been viewed as divine intervention or catastrophe, especially during unpredictable periods. In the Americas, the Moche civilization, Peru, produced murals and pottery scenes showing submerged cities, with architecture beneath the waves. These likely represent natural floods or divine punishment, art reflecting real hydrological disasters. Mesoamerican cultures, including the Maya and Aztec, created codices and sculptures depicting violent floods overtaking settlements, perhaps based on actual events or mythic themes of destruction and rebirth related to environmental upheavals. Submerged archaeological sites offer compelling evidence. Pavlopetri in Greece, dating to around 3000 BCE, reveals a remarkably intact underwater city with streets, courtyards, and buildings, suggesting a once thriving community submerged due to sea level rise, a tsunami, or flooding. While not linked to a specific event, its preservation hints at significant hydrological change. More enigmatic are sites like Dvaraka off India's coast, once thought mythic, now considered a sunken city, and Japan's Yonaguni, with terraced stone formations resembling architectural features beneath the sea. These may be natural formations, but their human-like features continue to fascinate. Persian and Mesopotamian petroglyphs, carvings, and inscriptions often depict boats skimming floodwaters with city ruins in the background, sometimes under divine or mythical figures. These artworks reference divine punishment, purification, or renewal, collective memories of localized or widespread floods. Many of these stories are intertwined with creation myths, suggesting that floods, literal or symbolic, are central to cultural identities across ages. Art, myth, and archaeology intertwine, revealing a cultural subconscious haunted by water's destructive and regenerative powers. Whether literal depictions of submerged cityscapes or mythic representations of divine cataclysm, these images and artifacts show early humans preserved memories of catastrophe, resilience, and renewal. They evoke shared narratives of lost civilizations, possibly hidden beneath the seas, and support the idea of a pre-flood supercity, an advanced metropolis swallowed by waters that might lie buried in collective consciousness, waiting to be rediscovered. Linguistic analysis provides a fascinating window into how ancient civilizations understood and remembered their world, especially regarding descriptions of a lost, possibly divine civilization. When archaeologists and linguists collaborate, they help untangle myths, history, and metaphors woven into old stories, revealing clues supporting the idea of a real, pre-flood supercity. Language acts as both a map and a key, decoding a centuries-old puzzle. For example, languages of Mesopotamia, Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian, contain mythic descriptions of a paradise before the Great Deluge. The word Eden, used in biblical texts, is scrutinized not just for religious significance but for its original linguistic context. Some scholars suggest that the Hebrew Eden derives from older Semitic roots linked to lushness or fertility, hinting at an actual place once known for abundant resources and advanced agriculture, possibly a city or region inspiring the myth. Linguistic analysis also uncovers shared metaphors and core concepts across cultures. Flood myths appear worldwide, from the Epic of Gilgamesh to Hindu stories, Native American legends and Chinese tales. Despite differences, recurring themes emerge: a world-changing deluge, a hero surviving it, and a restored civilization afterward. These suggest that different cultures' stories may have roots in real events, massive floods leaving an indelible mark on collective memory. Examining the language describing these floods reveals linguistic markers indicating shared experience. Terms for water, chaos, destruction, and renewal are common worldwide and might point to a historical event. Descriptions of flooded land often include words for high ground, embankments, or borders, indicating stories originated from real geographical features overwhelmed or altered by water. Linguistic analysis also illuminates how descriptions of Eden or supercities aligned with physical realities. Certain words or place names carry descriptive meanings hinting at actual locations. For instance, Dilmun, an ancient Sumerian term linked with paradise, may have denoted an island or elevated area in the Gulf, possibly corresponding to submerged archaeological sites. If Dilmun is associated with water or lushness linguistically, it bolsters the idea that Eden might have been a real place, a prosperous city now lost underwater. Furthermore, the structure of ancient languages, including names and titles, can reveal technological or societal hints. Descriptions of great cities, terraced gardens, or marble temples in text suggest civilizations with impressive engineering and architecture, hinting at a supercity of immense sophistication. When such features recur with specific terminology, they support the hypothesis that a highly developed, perhaps pre-flood metropolis once existed. Linguists also study how words evolve over time. Terms for water, prosperity, divine beings, or civilizations can shift in meaning, reflecting changing perceptions or collective memories. A word once denoting a real city might later become mythic or symbolic, blurring history and legend. Tracing these etymologies helps determine if a story originated from a genuine event or is purely mythologized. The names of deities and legendary figures embed linguistic roots connected to geographical features or societal roles. For example, a deity associated with water whose name relates to flow or flood could indicate a society that's centered around waterways, crucial if considering a civilization built in river floodplains. These hints can guide explorers to locations where natural features match the mythic descriptions, possibly hiding submerged ruins. The similarity of mythic terms across languages can reveal the diffusion of stories about a shared past. Traders, explorers, and cultures carried their tales and vocabulary across regions, stories describing divine or utopian cities, their layouts, divine inhabitants, and destruction may be echoes of an original, tangible site. Tracking these linguistic motifs offers clues about ancient travel routes, cultural interactions, and the possible location of the original supercity. Linguistics also helps distinguish metaphorical from literal descriptions. Many ancient societies use poetic language, floods as symbols of chaos, high mountains representing divine proximity. Analyzing these metaphors helps determine whether stories describe real places or serve spiritual or moral lessons. Nonetheless, recurring references to geographical features or names lend weight to the idea that the stories are rooted in actual locations. Ultimately, linguistic analysis acts as a detective tool, mining centuries of language change, metaphor, and cultural borrowing to uncover the buried truths of a lost civilization. Carefully examined fragments of ancient words and stories can turn into compelling evidence that Eden or similar paradises were not just myths, but memories encoded or passed down through generations. It functions as decoding the fingerprints of the past, each linguistic clue bringing us closer to understanding whether the Great Flood myth is based on a real calamity, and whether that event involved the destruction of a thriving, technologically advanced supercity buried beneath water and sediment. Through language, scholars continue to piece together the stories of ancient societies, revealing possible links between myth and reality, and shedding light on a world long vanished beneath the waters of history. Throughout history, myths have often been dismissed as simple stories, fables created to entertain, teach lessons, or explain the inexplicable. But what if beneath their vivid imagery and symbolic narratives lies a kernel of truth, a shadow of real events that shaped them? Could myth serve as a distorted historical record, preserving memories of actual occurrences long after details fade? Many scholars now believe it's possible, and evidence suggests myths may be more than stories. They could be echoes of ancient realities. Consider the many great flood narratives across cultures, the story of a world-destroying deluge that wiped out civilizations and left a mark on collective memory. The biblical story of Noah's Ark, the Mesopotamian epic of Gilgamesh, flood legends from Greece, Polynesian and African traditions all describe a catastrophic flood. While details differ, they share themes: divine warnings, preparations, survival by a few, and Earth's repopulation. These similarities imply these myths could have originated from a shared memory of a real, devastating flood impacting multiple ancient societies. One of the strongest pieces of evidence supporting myths as reflections of actual events comes from geology. Studies of the Black Sea Basin reveal a dramatic change around 6000 BC, when rising sea levels caused a massive influx of water, potentially submerging low-lying lands and destroying early settlements. Some experts suggest this event inspired flood myths. If ancestors witnessed or remembered rising waters, oral traditions could have preserved that memory as myth. Further support comes from submerged sites worldwide, such as the sunken city of Heraklion in Egypt, or structures off Cuba's coast, indicating significant floods or sea level rises, reshaped landscapes and displaced communities. Archaeology sometimes lends confirmation. The ancient city of Ubar, once thought to be a legendary desert metropolis, was found beneath shifting sands, proving its existence. Ruins of ancient ports and sunken cities in the Mediterranean and Black Sea suggest communities were suddenly displaced or destroyed by natural disasters, events that may have inspired stories of divine punishment or cosmic chaos. Such discoveries imply myths may encode real, destructive events impacting societies. Ancient records like cuneiform tablets or hieroglyphs sometimes document natural disasters such as earthquakes, droughts, or unusual celestial phenomena, often aligning with geological and climatic data. When examined together, these records and scientific findings reveal a fuller picture. Myths are not baseless stories, but may be distorted memories of environmental upheavals affecting entire civilizations. Critics argue myths are purely symbolic, metaphors for moral lessons or archetypes. This has validity, but dismissing all myth as allegory ignores tangible links with verifiable events. The challenge is to separate symbolic layers from historical kernels, an endeavor requiring a multidisciplinary approach, combining archaeology, geology, genetics, and anthropology. If myths do carry traces of history, it opens remarkable possibilities. Stories passed down through generations might be fragments of ancient events, preserved imperfectly yet meaningfully. These stories could serve as clues, guiding modern explorers to buried cities, ancient floodplains, or remnants beneath sediment layers. Unlocking these narratives could deepen our understanding of the distant past and how human societies responded to natural disasters, responses recorded in myth and culture that endure through generations. Could the myth of Eden itself be rooted in an ancient, catastrophic event? A flood, climate shift, or societal collapse that was remembered and transformed into legend? This idea suggests the echoes of real events reverberate through such stories, waiting for us to decode their origins. The possibility that myths preserve remnants of historical events invites us to look more closely at these tales, considering them not just symbolic but potentially meaningful records of past realities. By studying and interpreting myths alongside scientific evidence, we may uncover lost chapters of human history, revealing how our ancestors experienced and responded to the natural world's upheavals. Their stories, preserved in myth, might hold clues needed to better understand the resilience and vulnerability of ancient civilizations, as well as the enduring power of cultural memory. 494 words. Modern remote sensing has revolutionized the way we uncover and understand ancient civilizations, opening a window into worlds long submerged or buried beneath layers of earth and sediment. No longer do archaeologists rely solely on painstaking ground excavations. Instead, they harness a suite of advanced technologies that allow us to survey vast and often inaccessible terrains with remarkable precision. One of the most powerful tools in this arsenal is satellite imagery. High-resolution satellites orbiting hundreds of miles above the Earth capture images across various spectra: visible, infrared, and even thermal. This allows researchers to detect subtle anomalies and patterns in the landscape that are invisible to the naked eye. For instance, buried foundations, ancient roads, or city layouts can influence the way vegetation grows or how heat is radiated, creating telltale signatures visible from space. A classic example is the discovery of the lost city of Tanis in Egypt's Nile Delta, an ancient capital hidden beneath seafloor sediments, identified by distinctive soil discolorations and crop marks from satellite images. LiDAR, light detection and ranging, has in recent years become an archaeologist's goldmine. Mounted on aircraft or drones, LiDAR beams pulses of laser light toward the ground, measuring the time it takes for each pulse to bounce back. This process generates incredibly detailed, three-dimensional maps of landscape features, even beneath dense jungle canopy or deep sediment layers. The technique effectively penetrates the surface, revealing complex structures such as city walls, terraces, and even underground chambers. The discovery of the ancient Mayan city of Caral in Guatemala's jungle is a prime example. LiDAR revealed a sprawling urban landscape with roads and terraced fields that had been concealed beneath centuries of foliage. Radio detection and ranging techniques like ground-penetrating radar, GPR, have become invaluable for archaeological excavation planning. GPR sends electromagnetic pulses into the ground, detecting changes in material or density. This allows archaeologists to identify the presence of walls, tombs, or voids before digging begins, minimizing destruction and saving valuable resources. For example, GPR has been employed to locate ancient remains in Egypt and Greece, helping to map hidden pyramids, temples, and burial sites without a single spadeful of earth disturbed. Thermal imaging is another intriguing aspect of remote sensing. This technology captures variations in surface temperature, which can be influenced by subterranean structures or past human activity. An underground chamber, for example, might retain heat differently than its surroundings, revealing its presence through thermal anomalies. Such imaging has helped locate ancient hearths or buried foundations that would otherwise remain hidden. Modern remote sensing techniques also facilitate large-scale surveys that were unimaginable a few decades ago. Previously, archaeologists had to undertake time-consuming sporadic excavations based on surface clues or folklore. Now they can scan entire regions remotely, pinpointing promising sites for targeted excavation. This significantly accelerates discovery and enables researchers to build comprehensive maps of ancient urban systems, trade routes, and landscape modifications. Beyond the discovery phase, these technologies provide contextual understanding. When integrated with geographic information systems, GIS, remote sensing data can reveal patterns of settlement, resource distribution, and environmental changes over thousands of years. Such detailed insights offer clues about how ancient societies organized themselves and adapted to changing landscapes, insights that are crucial when considering the possibility of a highly advanced ancient supercity like Eden. As the technology continues to advance, with improvements in resolution, penetration depth, and AI-powered data analysis, the potential to uncover even more hidden chapters of human history grows exponentially. Remote sensing isn't just transforming archaeology, it's reshaping our understanding of the ancient world, helping us reimagine lost civilizations, and perhaps even find the mythical Garden of Eden buried beneath layers of time. Imagine diving into the dark, silent depths of the ocean, where sediment and centuries of silence hide secrets waiting to be unveiled. Over recent decades, advancements in underwater exploration technology have transformed what once seemed impossible into tangible clues about our distant past. These tools have turned the dream of uncovering submerged ancient cities into reality, revealing startling evidence that could reshape our understanding of history and perhaps even confirm myths like the Garden of Eden as real. High-resolution sonar imaging has been one of the most groundbreaking innovations. Multi-beam echo sounders and side-scan sonars now produce detailed maps of ocean floors, revealing structures that resemble city ruins. These images display complex grid-like formations, straight lines that look like streets, angular shapes indicating building foundations, and aqueduct-like channels. When scientists first saw these images, excitement and debate followed. Were these natural formations or the remains of lost civilizations buried beneath the waves? Remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, robotic probes with cameras and tools have advanced underwater exploration further. Unlike early explorers limited by scuba gear, ROVs can dive deeper and stay longer, capturing detailed footage. They reveal stone walls, terraces, carvings and artifacts resembling city blocks, gateways, stacked stones, and platforms that may have served as foundations or ceremonial sites. One notable discovery is near the ancient city of Heraklion in the Mediterranean. Here, seismic surveys and sonar mapping uncovered a sprawling, city-sized formation buried beneath sediment layers. Some structures align with legends of a great flood that wiped out a thriving civilization but left its remnants preserved underwater. Could this be Atlantis? Or perhaps the legendary Eden, the garden city known to ancient civilizations but lost to time and disaster? Magnetometry and other geophysical surveys have provided further insights. These instruments detect variations in the Earth's magnetic field caused by materials like metals and ceramics, helping archaeologists identify buried structures and artifacts. Some surveys reveal underground complexes with high metal content, suggesting tools, weapons, or technology of an advanced society. Fragments of a civilization perhaps hidden in sediments, waiting to be uncovered. Underwater LIDAR, adapted from aerial remote sensing, uses laser pulses to generate detailed three-dimensional seabed maps. When applied beneath the ocean, LIDAR has produced models showing ancient city layouts with streets, plazas, and irrigation systems. These models often display deliberate geometric planning, suggesting intelligent design rather than random natural formations. The discovery of submerged megalithic structures further intrigues researchers. Massive stones often arranged in deliberate formations, some aligned with celestial events like solstices, hint at sophisticated astronomical knowledge. These stones, some weighing tens of tons, may have served religious, ceremonial, or communal functions. Their watery burial prompts questions. What catastrophe submerged these structures? Was it a global flood, a tsunami, or geological upheaval? The convergence of sonar, ROVs, magnetometry, and LIDAR has revealed a landscape once thought to be empty ocean floor. Now it resembles an ancient cityscape whispering stories of a civilization that flourished before being swallowed by natural disasters. These findings challenge traditional narratives of human history, especially when structures resemble descriptions of divine or utopian realms. Myths of paradise and utopian cities may encode real memories of advanced human societies, perhaps similar to the biblical Eden, lost beneath the ocean. This is not purely about the distant past. Each discovery fosters scientific curiosity and drives technological innovation. As exploration tools become more sophisticated, drone submarines, AI-driven imaging, autonomous underwater vehicles, the mysteries of submerged ancient worlds become more accessible. Researchers are uncovering complex civilizations, their urban planning, technology, and stories of disaster, rather than just random artifacts. Imagine a future when legends like Eden, sacred gardens from various cultures, are linked to real, tangible cities beneath the waves. These technologies have brought us closer to that possibility, revealing footprints of civilizations buried beneath the ocean's surface, waiting for discovery. Each new find prompts us to rethink history and the stories we inherit, questioning whether myths persisting for thousands of years are echoes of advanced societies lost to catastrophe. Beneath the ocean's surface, evidence suggests there may be a pre-flood metropolis, an Eden of sorts, ready to emerge once again. Every discovery urges us to reconsider our understanding of history, mythology, and human achievement. The convergence of underwater exploration tech offers a glimpse into the past that may reshape humanity's story. These underwater civilizations, ancient and advanced, seem to have endured beneath the surface, hidden but not gone forever. The emerging evidence points toward a world where myths, often dismissed as legend, could be based on real, lost cities that vanished beneath the waves, waiting for us to find them and unearth their stories once more. Imagine standing on a vast, silent plain, the earth beneath concealing secrets buried deep beneath sediment and time. Could technology like ground-penetrating radar, GPR, reveal the blueprint of a once-thriving super-urban centre, possibly the lost Garden of Eden? GPR employs electromagnetic waves, high-frequency radio signals sent into the Earth via specialized antennas. When these signals encounter boundaries between materials of different densities like stone, clay, or voids, They reflect back, creating detailed images of what lies beneath. It's akin to shining a flashlight into darkness and glimpsing shapes lurking below, even if hidden from sight. This technology has demonstrated its capacity to uncover underground structures without damaging the Earth. Archaeologists have used GPR to detect buried walls, foundations, tunnels, or entire city blocks beneath places like Cairo, Rome, and other ancient sites. Structures from great civilizations, urban grids, temples, roads, canals, can be mapped with surprising accuracy. The question is, could GPR reveal evidence of an underground super-urban centre predating recorded history, perhaps even the legendary Eden? Theoretically, yes. The key depends on the city's sophistication and scale. An ancient metropolis built with complex architecture, the kind believed to have existed before the flood, would leave discernible signatures detectable by GPR. Foundations of large buildings, extensive drainage systems, and street layouts often contrast significantly with surrounding sediments. When GPR scans are conducted over such areas, these contrasts produce specific reflectance patterns, highlighting potential man-made features buried beneath layers of earth and sediment. Additionally, recent advances in GPR resolution enhance its capabilities. High-frequency antennas can now detect features as small as several centimeters, enabling researchers to interpret general shapes and layouts of subsurface structures. Combining GPR with other geophysical techniques, magnetometry and resistivity surveys, provides a fuller image of what's below the surface. Magnetometers, for instance, can detect variations in magnetic fields associated with fired bricks, kilns, or metallurgical activity. Resistivity surveys measure how well soils conduct electricity, revealing potential walls or foundations. However, terrain complexity can pose challenges. Sediment composition, groundwater levels, and natural geological features influence GPR's effectiveness. Clay-rich soils tend to absorb or scatter electromagnetic waves, dampening signals. High moisture content can also reduce clarity. To overcome such issues, researchers may use lower frequency antennas that penetrate deeper at reduced resolution, or combine GPR data with borehole sampling and core analyses. The scale of the site matters too. A city spanning hundreds of square miles requires extensive survey efforts. High-resolution GPR scans over large areas are resource-intensive. Conversely, targeted surveys focused on anomalies, combined with aerial and satellite imagery, can prioritize sites for further investigation. Drones equipped with GPR sensors can quickly survey large regions, pinpointing promising areas for detailed ground-based scans. Interpreting GPR data is both technical and artistic. Archaeologists and geophysicists must distinguish natural formations from potential man-made structures. It's like a puzzle. Geometric patterns, straight-line alignments, or organized arrangements of subsurface features may suggest a civilization's remnants. If such a city exists beneath the Earth, what stories might it tell? Could it be the remnants of a paradise lost, a super city built with ecological harmony and divine intent, then swallowed by catastrophe? This question fuels curiosity among scientists, historians, and explorers alike. Recent discoveries of submerged structures bolster this possibility. The submerged city of Dwarka off India's coast and extensive stonework beneath Italy's Baiae waters show that man-made structures, whether submerged due to tectonic shifts, rising seas, or floods, can remain remarkably intact for thousands of years, waiting to be rediscovered. While no single tool provides definitive proof alone, accumulating evidence from GPR, combined with other geophysical methods, underwater exploration, and archaeological excavations might verify the existence of a long-lost super-urban complex. Advancing technology makes the idea of uncovering a city resembling the legendary Garden of Eden increasingly plausible. Yes, ground-penetrating radar has the power to peer beneath the Earth's surface, potentially revealing the vestiges of ancient cities. It opens a window into our deep past, allowing us to explore deep, dark layers of history. Perhaps, just perhaps, we might find the lost paradise that has haunted human imagination for generations. Imagine a vast, seemingly empty expanse of ocean, or a sprawling stretch of ancient sediment, hiding secrets that could rewrite history. How do we pierce through these layers of mystery? That's where the remarkable combination of three-dimensional mapping and artificial intelligence comes into play, transforming the way we hunt for lost civilizations like the legendary Garden of Eden. First, Let's consider 3D mapping. Envision technology that can paint an incredibly detailed three-dimensional picture of the seafloor or remote terrain. Imagine a sort of digital topographical canvas that reveals every bump, depression, and anomaly. This isn't just about creating pretty visuals, it's about uncovering subtle signs that tell a story. Underwater LiDAR, for example, uses laser pulses to measure distances with astonishing precision, generating detailed, high-resolution maps of submerged landscapes. When these maps are overlaid with data from sonar or satellite imagery, archaeologists can spot irregularities, perhaps the outline of ancient city walls, terrace platforms, or even intricate roadway networks hidden beneath layers of sediment or water. Once these detailed scans are in place, the true magic begins with AI-driven analysis. Artificial intelligence, especially machine learning algorithms, are adept at sifting through vast datasets far beyond human capability. These algorithms can be trained to recognize specific patterns, certain shapes, geometries, or alignments that might hint at human-made structures. For instance, AI can analyze the topographical maps to identify grid-like patterns, symmetrical shapes, or anomalous structures that deviate from natural formations. This is especially crucial because nature often creates features that can resemble human constructions, so AI helps differentiate between the natural and the artificial, reducing human bias and oversight. Furthermore, AI can integrate data from multiple sources: geological surveys, magnetic resonance scans, sediment composition, and even historical climate models. By synthesizing all these streams of information, AI algorithms can predict potential locations where ancient settlements might have existed. For example, if a specific pattern of sediment deposits suggests a floodplain that could have supported a city like Eden, AI can flag that location for further investigation. Essentially, it's like having a highly trained, tireless detective comb through countless clues to prioritize the most promising sites. Training these AI systems involves feeding them a treasure trove of known archaeological sites, both terrestrial and submerged, and teaching them to recognize their telltale features. Over time, these systems improve in their accuracy, developing an almost instinctual ability to identify promising evidence buried beneath layers of history. As new data streams in from ongoing scans, AI continually refines its models, increasing the precision and confidence in its predictions. Another incredible advantage is speed. Traditional archaeological surveys can take years of painstaking fieldwork, drilling and excavation. With 3D mapping combined with AI analysis, vast regions can be scanned, analysed, and flagged in a fraction of that time. What might have been overlooked or dismissed as natural formations can now be rapidly scrutinised, ensuring no stone, no ancient foundation is left unturned. Ultimately, this fusion of cutting-edge technology acts like a cosmic telescope into our past, illuminating hidden worlds and lost civilizations. It dramatically accelerates our quest to find the mysterious mythical places that fuel our imagination and hold keys to understanding the origins of human civilization. Just imagine what stories might emerge when we finally see a long-buried city in perfect detail, deciphered by intelligent algorithms, revealing the grandeur of a pre-flood supercity like Eden itself. It's a tantalizing glimpse into a future where science and legend come together to unravel humanity's most profound secrets. Uncovering a lost city, especially a legendary one like the Garden of Eden, sounds like stepping into a real-world adventure, doesn't it? But amidst the excitement and the tantalizing possibility of rewriting history, researchers face a web of challenges that can seem daunting or insurmountable. These obstacles aren't just about digging up ruins or finding ancient texts. They involve deciphering layers of time, ambiguous clues, and overcoming technological, political, and natural barriers. Let's explore some of the major hurdles they encounter. First, natural processes pose significant challenges. Over millennia, earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, coastal erosion, and shifting sediments continually reshape Earth's surface. These natural events can swallow or obscure ancient cities, making location difficult with conventional archaeology. Structures fade into rubble, landscapes transform, and sometimes natural upheavals erase all traces of human habitation, leaving only faint clues buried beneath the surface or beneath ocean floors. This natural reshaping complicates efforts to identify specific sites with certainty, especially when clues are minimal or ambiguous. Alongside these natural obstacles, identification becomes a major issue. Many lost cities, especially legendary supercities, leave behind scattered artifacts, broken monuments, or inscriptions that can be difficult to interpret. Many sites have been mistaken for others or natural formations. Without clear written records or distinctive artifacts, researchers often rely on educated guesses, making it hard to distinguish between myth and reality, or between ancient city remains and natural or modern structures. The absence of unequivocal evidence means that certainty remains elusive. Technological limitations also hinder progress. Modern tools like satellite imagery, LiDAR, ground-penetrating radar, and underwater sonar have revolutionized exploration, yet each has limits. Dense vegetation, deep sediment layers, or murky waters can obscure signals or reduce resolution. LiDAR can reveal structures under jungle canopies but can't penetrate sediment or water effectively. Underwater archaeology faces challenges such as murky waters, strong currents, and immense pressure at depths. These factors make exploration slow, costly, and dangerous. False positives are common, and extensive ground truthing and excavation are necessary before confirming a site's nature. Financial and political hurdles further complicate exploration. Excavations require substantial funding, often millions of dollars. Securing grants and sponsorships can be competitive, and political stability is essential for ongoing projects. Some regions face political unrest, conflicts, or restrictive governments that can halt or limit archaeological activities. Moreover, issues of sovereignty and cultural sensitivity arise. Certain artifacts or sites may be considered national treasures or sacred, leading to legal disputes or restrictions that restrict access. Navigating local traditions and religious beliefs alongside scientific pursuits can be challenging. Environmentally, some regions are difficult and dangerous to explore. Deserts with extreme heat make fieldwork physically taxing, while remote jungles with dense foliage and unpredictable weather hinder progress. Deep ocean explorations demand specialized equipment and high costs. Operating in these extreme environments limits the scope and speed of discoveries and adds significant logistical challenges. Another challenge is interpreting fragmentary evidence. Even when promising structures or artifacts are found, understanding their significance requires careful contextual analysis. Without written records, particularly from the city's heyday, it's hard to connect physical findings to myths or historical events. Archaeologists rely on stratigraphy, comparative analysis, and educated guesses to assemble stories, but interpretation can be subjective. Debates often arise within the scientific community about the true nature and significance of findings, adding further complexity. Myth versus reality also presents an obstacle. Legends evolve over thousands of years and often contain symbolic or spiritual truths rather than literal history. Stories of paradise or supercities might be inspired by real places, but over centuries, they develop supernatural elements that obscure their origins. Disentangling these stories from actual historical facts is complex, requiring multidisciplinary approaches, including geology, anthropology, archaeology, and even astroarchaeology. Despite these hurdles, researchers remain undeterred. Advances in technology, international collaboration, and recognition of indigenous and local knowledge continue to push exploration forward. Every discovery, even small ones, enhances our understanding and brings us closer to uncovering a lost supercity, perhaps even the Garden of Eden itself. By confronting natural, technological, political, and interpretative challenges directly, scientists and explorers intensify their efforts. Driven by the tantalizing prospect that this legendary city, once dismissed as myth, may be buried beneath sands of time, they remain committed. Each step forward, each piece of evidence, increases the possibility of finally uncovering a place that has captured human imagination for centuries. A real city, hidden beneath layers of history, waiting to be rediscovered. The discovery of a site linked to the legendary Garden of Eden would send shockwaves through both religious and scientific communities, challenging perceptions, beliefs, and the way we understand history and spirituality. For millennia, Eden has been primarily seen as myth, theology, and tradition, an idyllic paradise lost, a divine origin story woven into many cultures and faiths. Finding tangible evidence such as ancient remains or submerged structures matching biblical descriptions would blur the line between faith and empirical knowledge in unprecedented ways. For religious communities, this would be monumental. Many faiths regard Eden as a sacred divine place, the origin of humanity, and a symbol of perfection and divine communion. Uncovering physical remnants might lead to re-evaluations of scriptural interpretations and debates over whether sacred texts are literal or metaphorical. Some believers may see evidence as divine affirmation, proof that faith and science are converging, revealing God's creation in a profound new light. Others might feel unsettled, fearing tangible evidence could threaten spiritual truths they hold dear or provoke conflicts over scriptural authority. Such a discovery could also unite different faiths through renewed wonder and shared history. Religious leaders might interpret findings as part of divine mystery, proof that God's creation surpasses human understanding and that sacred stories are rooted in reality, awaiting full comprehension. This could foster a bridge between theology and science, encouraging dialogue where exploration and faith coexist, each enriching the other. From the scientific perspective, unearthing the Eden site would be revolutionary. It could challenge existing narratives about human origins and early civilizations, potentially rewriting parts of history. Archaeologists and anthropologists would embark on a new era of research, studying the culture, technology, and construction of the city, especially if evidence suggests a civilization more advanced than previously believed, perhaps existing before the flood stories describe. Such a discovery might also offer clues about Earth's natural history, sea levels, climate shifts, and geological upheavals that could explain the city's submersion or disappearance. It would raise profound questions about human evolution and timelines. Was this civilization truly pre-flood? Or are these remnants from an even older lost world? Using advanced technology like LiDAR scans, underwater sonar, and genetic analysis, scientists could reconstruct a detailed picture of life in this ancient metropolis, filling gaps in our understanding of human development. Furthermore, evidence of a pre-flood civilization might lend credibility to flood myths seen worldwide, from Mesopotamian epics to Native American legends, often portraying a cataclysmic event that reset civilization. Finding a real city dating from the era associated with flood stories could suggest these myths encode shared memories of a global catastrophe. However, such a discovery would also spark complex social debates. Would scientists embrace the findings or become mired in questions about interpretation, preservation, and ethics? Might the discovery foster a greater appreciation of interconnection across cultures, or would skepticism and denial prevail? History shows that revolutionary findings often meet resistance, challenging established ideas and forcing both scientists and believers to revisit long-held assumptions. Ultimately, uncovering the Eden site would act as a catalyst, an intersection where myth and reality collide, transforming understanding across disciplines and belief systems. While it might not answer every question, it would deepen the mystery, inviting humanity into a new chapter of exploration and reflection, one that could redefine concepts of divine, human, and historical. This discovery would shake foundations, blur boundaries, and expand our view of existence, suggesting that some truths may lie just beneath the surface, waiting to recapture our imagination and reshape our understanding of the world and ourselves. Imagine uncovering an ancient advanced supercity buried beneath layers of sea and earth, a place that might have been our original Garden of Eden. This isn't just about finding old stones, it's a portal to a chapter of human history glimpsed only in myth. Such a discovery could radically alter our understanding of human origins, reshaping perceptions of technological development and societal complexity during prehistoric times. First, it would challenge the belief that early civilizations were simple and driven mainly by survival. If this supercity predates known societies and shows evidence of sophisticated engineering, urban planning, or technological prowess, it would upend the idea that humanity's earliest achievements were modest. We could realize that human ingenuity was harnessed on a large scale much earlier, finding vast aqueducts, complex water management, or artificial infrastructure indicating a society capable of manipulating environments long before recorded history. This revelation prompts us to reconsider the timeline of human evolution. Did our ancestors encounter or even build this supercity? Could it have driven early cultural development or become a myth passed through generations? If remains of advanced architecture or artifacts are found that defy conventional dating, implying they are thousands or tens of thousands of years old, it could push back the origins of complex societies significantly. Questions would arise: was civilization a gradual evolution, or a sudden burst of innovation in a forgotten epoch? Moreover, the discovery of a pre-flood supercity raises questions about technological continuity and knowledge transfer. How much of this civilization's skills, science, or philosophy might have influenced subsequent cultures? Did some cultures inherit knowledge from this lost civilization, embedding echoes of its achievements in myths like Eden, Atlantis, or similar legends? Could this help explain recurring themes of divine or perfect places across cultures? Such connections might suggest that stories passed down for millennia aren't just allegories, but encoded memories of shared, real history. On a spiritual level, evidence of an ancient paradise-like city would profoundly impact beliefs about divine proximity and human purpose. Many see the Garden of Eden as a spiritual or mythical place, but if physical remnants are uncovered, it would validate that our ancestors knew of a tangible paradise. From this perspective, divine intervention, sacred landscapes, and divine human relationships would take on new significance. The idea that spiritual stories are rooted in real encounters with a civilization that walked beside the divine would gain credibility. Culturally, implications could be seismic. Human societies are built on stories. Discovering a potential link to Eden could unify fragmented narratives across continents. Religions, mythologies, and philosophies might find new context, prompting fresh discussions about origin, purpose, and destiny. Scholars could reinterpret ancient texts, aligning myth with archaeology, creating a more cohesive understanding of shared heritage. Such a find could ignite a renaissance blending spiritual curiosity with scientific inquiry, encouraging exploration not just of physical remnants, but what they reveal about human values, beliefs, and aspirations. This discovery might also influence future technology. Understanding how this ancient supercity was built, perhaps with unknown materials or techniques, could inspire new engineering or environmental solutions. It might teach us about sustainable living, resilience, or lost environmental management methods. Beneath layers of myth, there could be a blueprint for harmony between humanity and nature, something we're only beginning to comprehend. From a scientific perspective, unearthing such a city would open new research fields. Geologists and archaeologists would work to determine its age, origin, and purpose. Climatologists might study sea level changes since its submersion, shedding light on climate shifts. Oceanographers could explore this submerged landscape, uncovering ecosystems that have thrived silently for thousands of years. An interdisciplinary approach would reveal not just one lost city but Earth's dynamic history, how continents shift, climates change, and civilizations rise and fall. This discovery would force us to reconsider human resilience and adaptability. How did a civilization like this exist in a vastly different world? Was it an early hub of technological or spiritual innovation? Did it possess knowledge now considered lost? How did it vanish? Was it a slow decline, a sudden catastrophe, or a mythic flood that erased it from history? Such questions inspire humility and awe. They remind us that human history might be richer than we imagine, full of stories of brilliance, hubris, tragedy, and renewal echoing across ages. Uncovering this supercity's evidence could serve as a powerful chronicle of human potential, showing that where curiosity and ingenuity exist, civilizations can reach extraordinary heights, but sometimes fall into depths, only to be rediscovered millennia later. Ultimately, this discovery would deepen our understanding of the links between myth and history, technology and spirituality, nature and mankind. It would expand our sense of what's possible, both in ancient achievements and future possibilities. Whether this buried supercity proves to be the missing link in our origins, or just a remarkable chapter in Earth's vast history, its uncovering promises to redefine our journey from primordial dawn to complex civilization today. If we confirm the existence of a lost city matching Eden's descriptions, perhaps an advanced, submerged metropolis hidden beneath oceans or buried in ancient landscapes, it would cause shockwaves in both archaeological and theological worlds. Such a discovery would challenge centuries of established narratives, prompting scholars to revisit long-held beliefs and expand our understanding of human history. Archaeologically, the impact would be profound. Researchers have pieced together human history from artifacts, pottery shards, tools, structures, But if some artifacts belong to a civilization predating current knowledge, it could revolutionize our understanding of early human development. Evidence of sophisticated architecture, technologies, or infrastructure surpassing known ancient civilizations would force a re-evaluation of the timeline of technological progress. It might suggest that highly advanced societies once flourished and vanished, their knowledge lost to time, floods, or geological upheavals. Such a discovery would also prompt a reassessment of migration and cultural exchange patterns. If the city was a global hub or linked to other ancient sites, it could serve as a nexus influencing subsequent civilizations. The idea of transoceanic or continental networks of knowledge and trade would gain more credibility, challenging models of isolated development. Furthermore, uncovering a submerged or hidden city would reveal insights into Earth's geological history. How many civilizations have succumbed beneath the waves due to floods, earthquakes, or asteroid impacts? If this was a pre-flood metropolis, it would serve as a living record of Earth's tumultuous past, compelling scientists to incorporate new evidence into models of climate change, geological shifts, and natural disasters. Turning to theology, the implications could be as transformative. The stories of Eden have long held deep spiritual meaning, symbolizing paradise, divine proximity, and human origins. If archaeological evidence pointed to a physical place aligning with these narratives, religious doctrines might need re-evaluation. Faith communities might reconsider sacred texts. Some could find their beliefs reinforced through tangible links to divine history, while others might question or reinterpret doctrines regarding humanity, sin, and divine intervention. The discovery could influence views on paradise or perfection. Instead of a spiritual realm, believers might see their sacred stories rooted in a real lost city. Such a realization might transform theological debates, inspiring reinterpretations that reconcile ancient texts with scientific evidence. On a societal level, this discovery could foster renewed interest in the spiritual meaning of human origins. It might bridge divides across faiths and sciences, showing that science and spirituality can complement one another in understanding our roots. The potential for interdisciplinary dialogue, archaeology, geology, theology, physics, would spark new avenues of inquiry. However, controversy would follow. Some might argue that locating Eden as a physical place diminishes its allegorical and spiritual significance. Others could accuse groups of literalizing myths for ideological purposes. Still, the evidence would be compelling enough to force theologians to reconcile textual interpretations with concrete findings. Educational curricula could evolve to include new archaeological data, and religious institutions might incorporate this discovery into their teachings, influencing future generations' understanding of history and spirituality. Yet, ambiguities would remain. Whether this city truly matches Eden or simply echoes its mythic qualities, though certainty of a physical location would push humanity into a new era of exploration. This find would serve as a catalyst for collaboration across disciplines, merging archaeology, geology, theology, and physics to interpret its significance. It would challenge us to reconsider our origins, myths, and divine concepts, leading to a paradigm shift. Confirming such a location would blur lines between scientific investigation and spiritual reflection. It would invite us to see ourselves not just as story inhabitants, but as explorers of an ancient world that once thrived, and perhaps still remains, waiting to be discovered and understood. The discovery could reshape how society perceives human history, spiritual beliefs, and our place in the universe. It might inspire new narratives that unify science and faith, fostering a more comprehensive understanding of our origins. A confirmed location resembling Eden would become more than an archaeological achievement. It would be a profound cultural and spiritual milestone, observing how faith, science, and history interweave. In short, the impact on archaeological and theological paradigms would be immense, transforming our grasp of the past, raising new questions, and opening unexplored avenues. It would challenge us to view human history as more complex, layered, and intertwined with divine stories than previously believed, prompting a reimagining of everything we thought we knew about our origins and the divine. Ultimately, such a discovery would inspire humanity to reevaluate the stories shaping our understanding of existence, bridging ancient myth with scientific discovery, opening a new chapter in our quest to understand ourselves, our history, and our spiritual truths. Beneath history and myth lies a reality waiting to be uncovered, one that could redefine what it means to be human in this vast universe. The discovery of a possible pre-flood supercity beneath the earth or ocean would excite archaeologists and resonate across human culture and belief systems. Such a revelation could challenge ideas about origins, spirituality, and humanity's place in the universe. Societies would confront long-standing philosophical and religious questions about divine intervention, historical narratives, and the existence of a lost perfect civilization. Many cultures have told stories of paradise lost, Eden, Atlantis, the Garden of the Gods, symbolizing harmony before catastrophe or divine punishment. If proven true, this discovery could lend credence to these myths, transforming allegory into historical reality. It might inspire spiritual reflection as people see their stories validated through new evidence, artifacts, sediment, underwater ruins. Some would interpret this as proof that human sacred origins surpass religious texts, prompting revisions of doctrines and questions about relevance today. Alongside spiritual implications, ethical debates would emerge. Preservation is a primary concern. Should these sites be excavated or left undisturbed as sacred grounds? Different cultures might assign varying sacredness, leading to conflicts over usage or destruction. Indigenous groups may see these as ancestral or sacred lands, raising questions about whose rights are prioritized and how to honor these sites properly. Ownership and stewardship would be contentious. Who controls the treasures within? Governments, international bodies, religious groups, or local communities? Historically, discoveries often become commodities, sold or exploited for profit, raising ethical issues about archaeology, turning into cultural vandalism that strips away meaning for monetary gain. Disturbing sites considered divine could generate moral questions about explorers' and scientists' responsibilities. If uncovering the city reveals advanced technologies or knowledge that could affect humanity's future or safety, perhaps dangerous powers, would there be justification for revealing or hiding these? Would we have a duty to safeguard these findings, preserving them as sources of learning rather than weapons? Balancing curiosity with responsibility would be vital. Public perception would influence these debates. Some might see the find as hopeful, proof of deeper interconnected human origins. Others could feel fear or suspicion, worried about hidden secrets. Religious and cultural leaders might see the discovery as divine confirmation or a challenge to faith, especially if it predates sacred texts. Media, tourism, and commercialization issues would also arise. As interest grows, questions about sustainable tourism and respecting the site's integrity become crucial. Will scientific preservation take precedence, or will fame and profit dominate? How do we secure respect for cultural sensitivities while sharing discoveries globally? These debates extend beyond relics themselves. They prompt reflection on what it means to be human, to believe, to remember our past, and to responsibly shape the future. These ancient secrets are more than artifacts. They echo human hopes and fears, highlighting an ongoing quest to understand origins. The discovery would force society to face its identity and history, challenging perceptions of the divine, the sacred, and civilization itself. It prompts moral questions about our responsibilities toward cultural heritage, truthful storytelling, and sacred sites preservation. Such findings would redefine our understanding of history, spirituality, and ethics, creating a pivotal moment with broad implications. They compel us to ask questions about ownership, access, and responsible use of knowledge. The pursuit of truth would need to be balanced with respect for the sacred and cultural diversity. How society chooses to engage could influence future frameworks, affecting collective identity, morality, and spiritual beliefs. Ultimately, it would challenge us to reconcile curiosity with our duty to protect and honor the past mysteries. The discovery could reshape views on human origins and spiritual beliefs, prompting reflection on what it means to be human and our place in the universe. The find would push us to re-examine notions of mortality, divine intervention, and cultural heritage. It could unravel long-held myths and open new pathways to understanding our past. But along with this, debates about ownership, stewardship, and ethics of excavation would intensify. Ensuring that exploration respects diverse cultural and religious sentiments is essential to avoid destructive consequences. The ethical dilemma revolves around balancing scientific curiosity with cultural and spiritual respect, Preventing the destruction of invaluable sites, society would need to decide whether to prioritize knowledge, preservation, or sacredness. This discovery would redefine how humanity views origins, prompting ongoing dialogue about morality and cultural responsibility. It would serve as a reminder that the pursuit of truth must be accompanied by humility, respect, and a commitment to safeguarding cultural and spiritual legacy. The way we handle this revelation will influence our collective moral compass and shape future interactions with our shared history. Ultimately, it would challenge our understanding of civilization, morality, and faith, shaping how humanity perceives itself and its place in the cosmos. Imagine a world awakening to the undeniable truth that the Garden of Eden, or at least a city of comparable mythic grandeur, once thrived in prehistory's depths and is now waiting to be rediscovered. Such a revelation would cause a seismic shift across archaeology, geology, anthropology, and physics, opening new pathways of inquiry that could reshape our understanding of human origins and Earth's distant past. Initially, there would be an explosion in archaeological exploration. Efforts would focus on mapping the site with advanced technologies, LiDAR, satellite imagery, underwater sonar, and robotic explorers venturing into underground tunnels or submerged structures. The goal would be non-invasive reconnaissance, aiming to uncover as much as possible without disturbing what might be sacred or fragile. As more of the city's layout is revealed, researchers would proceed to excavation, carefully cataloguing artifacts, structural remains, and organic materials. Each shard, pottery fragment, or piece of infrastructure would tell stories about its builders, their culture, beliefs, and technology. This discovery could revolutionize understanding of early urban development. If the city proves as advanced as myth suggests, it might challenge current timelines of human technological evolution. Could this city have been an early hub of innovation, predating known civilizations like Mesopotamia or Egypt? If so, scholars would re-evaluate the narrative of human progress, pushing back the origins of complex societies and inspiring new theories about how ancient peoples organized their worlds, harnessed resources, and built cities. Geological research would also take center stage. Investigating sediment layers, tectonic activity, and climate data could reveal how the city survived or why it was submerged or abandoned. Did natural disasters, mega tsunamis, earthquakes, climate shifts, cause its destruction? Or was it deliberately concealed by natural factors or ancient civilizations that intentionally hid its location? Understanding these processes would provide insights into Earth's dynamic history and how ancient communities interacted with their environment, reacting to catastrophes. Further, genetic studies would open new frontiers. Organic remains, human bones, plants, or ancient textiles could undergo DNA analysis to tell their stories. Did its inhabitants have genetic traits linking them to known ancient populations? Could they represent a previously unknown branch of humanity, with technologies or cultural practices lost to time? Ancient DNA in submerged environments might unlock a genetic library that expands knowledge of human migration, adaptation, and interaction. The discovery could also stimulate advances in physics and materials science. Studying physical structures made of stone, metal, or unknown composites might reveal advanced construction techniques, energy harvesting methods, or durable materials from the past. Could these materials hold clues to alternative energy sources or construction principles? Unlocking these secrets might inspire modern innovations, bridging ancient ingenuity and future technology by encouraging scientists and engineers to develop new materials or energy solutions. From a cultural perspective, this find would prompt a re-evaluation of mythologies and religious texts. Stories long dismissed as allegories might gain new legitimacy, offering context and empirical support for some narratives. Archaeologists, theologians, and historians would collaborate to interpret artifacts and inscriptions, if any are found, in light of this new evidence. Such a synthesis could fuel a renaissance of cultural awareness, empathy, and recognition of shared myths from a common remembrance of a golden age, redefining our understanding of ourselves and history. Technologically, the search for similar sites would become more refined. Machine learning algorithms capable of detecting subtle anomalies in large datasets could be developed to identify other buried or submerged ancient cities. These tools would accelerate discoveries worldwide, revealing a hidden network of civilizations that once thrived, then vanished beneath oceans or Earth, shaping a complex tapestry of human history only beginning to be understood. environmental studies would take on new urgency, understanding how ancient civilizations impacted their environment and how natural processes led to their submersion would inform today's discussions about climate change and sustainability. Learning from past human-environment interactions could provide lessons on resilience, adaptation, and maintaining harmony with our planet. Moreover, this discovery would foster unprecedented interdisciplinary collaborations. Universities, research institutes, governments, and private organizations would unite, pooling resources, expertise, and technology to explore this submerged marvel. Large international projects combining paleoclimatology, marine biology, engineering, and astrophysics might emerge, exploring cosmic and terrestrial forces creating and destroying what could have been a thriving supercity. Educational institutions would overhaul curricula, incorporating this new knowledge and inspiring future generations to see history, science, and myth as interconnected disciplines. Museums would showcase artifacts, reconstructions, and digital reconstructions, immersing the public in humanity's ancient roots and future potential for discovery. Ultimately, such a discovery would ignite a global sense of curiosity, the relentless desire to uncover our origins and understand the depths of history that shaped us. The journey would involve more than uncovering stones and bones. It would weave a richer narrative of what it means to be human. It could reaffirm that beneath layers of dirt, water, and time, echoes of a magnificent civilization still whisper their secrets, waiting for us to listen, interpret, and understand. As fascinating as the idea is, that we might someday uncover the legendary Garden of Eden, it's a journey tangled in a web of controversy. For many, the notion of pinpointing a specific archaeological site as the biblical paradise raises eyebrows, not just because it sounds like something from a fantasy novel, but because scholars and scientists often approach these claims with a healthy dose of skepticism. First, one of the biggest debates revolves around the very existence of Eden itself. Is it a literal place, or merely a metaphor woven into religious stories that try to explain the origins of humanity? For centuries, theologians have argued that Eden represents a spiritual reality, a perfect state of harmony before humanity's fall, rather than a specific geographical location waiting to be discovered. When archaeologists or explorers claim they've found the real garden, many experts question whether such a place ever truly existed in a physical sense, or if it's simply a mythic symbol meant to convey profound truths about human nature. Adding to the complexity is the challenge of translating ancient texts into precise geographical directions. The biblical descriptions of Eden, with its rivers flowing eastward from the garden, have led some to pinpoint locations around the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, or within the cradle of Mesopotamian civilization, but those identifications are far from universally accepted. The geographic descriptions are ambiguous, and the region has changed drastically over thousands of years. Rivers have shifted course, landscapes have been reshaped by floods and human activity. Some skeptics argue that trying to map the garden onto a real spot is akin to chasing a mirage, based on ancient poetic language rather than solid evidence. Then there's the question of archaeological evidence. Despite modern technology, like satellite imaging, deep-sea exploration, and advanced dating methods, no conclusive proof has emerged that definitively identifies Eden or a pre-flood supercity lying beneath the sands or waters of the Middle East. Many claimed discoveries have turned out to be natural formations or misleading artifacts, fueling accusations that some researchers might be chasing myths or fueling sensational stories for fame or profit. Critics also point out that the search sometimes ventures into pseudoscience, with claims made without rigorous peer review or peer consensus. Religion itself complicates the debate. For devout believers, the Garden of Eden is an undeniable truth rooted in divine revelation. So discoveries that challenge or fail to find Eden might be seen as misunderstandings or misinterpretations of sacred texts. Conversely, skeptics argue that tying scientific exploration too closely to religious narratives can introduce biases, leading to confirmation bias, seeing what one hopes or expects to see. It becomes a tightrope walk between respecting faith and maintaining scientific objectivity. Finally, there's the issue of cultural sensitivity. Many of these alleged searches take place in regions with deeply rooted histories, and excavations or discoveries might disrupt current communities or threaten archaeological sites that are still being studied. the tension between discovering historical truths and respecting present-day sacred sites can become quite heated. In the end, the controversies surrounding the search for Eden aren't just about archaeology or geology. They're intertwined with faith, skepticism, ethics, and the human desire to connect with our ancient past. It's a pursuit full of wonder, but also fraught with challenges that remind us how elusive and layered our history truly is. When it comes to claims about uncovering a super city that could be the legendary Garden of Eden, archaeological and scientific standards serve as guardians of credibility. They act as filters, sifting through speculation and sensationalism to highlight what can be reliably understood and what remains uncertain. These standards aren't about shutting down wonder. They ensure our pursuit of truth is grounded in rigorous inquiry. First, archaeological standards demand more than just a striking discovery. They require a careful, methodical process: excavation, cataloguing, dating, and contextual analysis that confirms the authenticity and significance of findings. For instance, if satellite imagery or underwater scans reveal unusual structures beneath the Earth or ocean floor, scientists don't immediately declare them remnants of a super city. Instead, they scrutinize these signals, checking whether they could be natural formations, geological artifacts, or human-made constructs. This process involves multiple lines of evidence, like carbon dating, stratigraphic analysis, and artifact examination, to establish a timeline and determine whether these remnants align with known historical or mythological periods. These standards help distinguish between genuine archaeological discoveries and anomalies, or misinterpretations. It's tempting to leap to exciting conclusions, like identifying a site as the Lost Paradise, based on limited or ambiguous evidence. But real scientific practice urges caution. It insists on reproducibility. Can independent teams find the same structures? Are findings consistent across different datasets? Can we confirm the site's age through multiple dating techniques? This robustness minimizes the risk of false positives, erroneous claims that a site is the biblical garden or a legendary supercity. Second, scientific standards emphasize an evidence-based approach rooted in testing hypotheses. When researchers propose that a site is the remnants of a pre-flood supercity, they need to support this with empirical data, artifacts indicating advanced civilization, structural engineering beyond that known for the era, or unusual chemical compositions. Opinion and speculation are insufficient. These claims must withstand peer review, meaning other experts evaluate the evidence, attempt replication, and assess whether interpretations are valid. The use of technology, like geophysical surveys, seismic imaging, or underwater robotics, is governed by strict protocols. These tools produce data that must be interpreted carefully, contextually. For example, a submerged anomaly might resemble building foundations, but without corroborating evidence, such as dated pottery or inscriptions, scientists remain cautious. They recognize that natural formations can mimic human structures, and they aim to avoid confirmation bias, the tendency to see what supports a desired conclusion. Moreover, standards require humility. Archaeology and science acknowledge their knowledge limits. Even with tantalizing clues, an unusual sediment pattern, a strange metallic deposit, or clustered artifacts, they aren't proof of a divine or utopian city. These are pieces of a puzzle, requiring further investigation, cross-disciplinary analysis, and sometimes patience spanning decades. These rigorous standards protect against sensationalism. Claims about discovering the Garden of Eden or prehistoric supercities tend to generate excitement, media buzz, and sometimes pseudoscience. Without proper scientific methodology, such claims can spiral into conspiracy theories or misconceptions, distorting our history and understanding of the past. Yet these standards do not dismiss the possibility of groundbreaking discoveries. They ensure claims are supported by solid, credible evidence. In speculative archaeology, a piece of a wall, an unusual artifact, or a structural anomaly doesn't immediately confirm a biblical city, let alone a paradise. It's a starting point, an invitation for further investigation. Perhaps it's a natural formation, perhaps part of a forgotten human settlement. Science's role is to peel back layers of mystery carefully, asking the right questions. How old is this structure? What materials were used? Who built it? And why? How does it fit into human history? When findings align with other evidence, cultural, geological, linguistic, the case strengthens. When they don't, scientists remain cautious, open to alternative explanations. Ultimately, archaeological and scientific standards are about integrity. They value truth over hype, validation over sensationalism. Claims of a super city that could be the Garden of Eden must withstand thorough, peer-reviewed research. Only then can we confidently say, here is a piece of the puzzle, instead of rushing to declare we've found paradise. Such disciplined approaches ensure discoveries aren't just stories we want to tell, but true chapters in our ancient world's history. Sensationalism and pseudoscience influence public perceptions of archaeological and scientific discoveries significantly. Stories about ancient civilizations often blur credible science with exaggeration, distorting understanding of evidence. Sensationalism relies on mystery and allure, emphasizing dramatic claims like discovering a city resembling Eden without solid evidence. Media sometimes prioritize shock over accuracy, generating excitement but sacrificing nuance and rigor. This leads the public to view findings through wonder mixed with misconception, hindering realistic understanding. Pseudoscience presents theories that seem scientific but lack empirical support or are based on flawed reasoning. Examples include claims that structures align with celestial events, anomalies prove extraterrestrial intervention, or myths conceal secret knowledge. These narratives often offer simplified paranormal explanations for complex data, suggesting mainstream science suppresses truths. Such ideas foster conspiracy thinking and captivating stories that appeal to imagination. They skew perceptions of evidence as people accept these claims as shortcuts to hidden truths or lost technologies. Ambiguous artifacts, ground anomalies, and obscure texts become tools supporting sensational stories. When presented confidently, these theories are often quickly believed, especially by those eager for extraordinary explanations, framing narratives in mysteries or conspiracies that resonate emotionally. This impacts perception of genuine science. When pseudoscientific claims blend with credible research, public understanding becomes muddy. Skepticism toward legitimate archaeology, geology, and history grows, fueled by misconceptions that discoveries are staged or manipulated. Consequently, some dismiss real scientific work as part of a conspiracy, turning instead to fantasies that demand less scrutiny. Sensationalism and pseudoscience also erode trust in science overall, spreading misinformation that affects perceptions of issues like climate change and health sciences. Exaggerated claims become ingrained in culture, sometimes fueling conspiracy theories despite contrary evidence. Repeating false narratives embeds them deeply, making them harder to dispel. The importance of responsible science communication becomes clear. Scientists, archaeologists, and educators must interpret findings transparently, emphasizing evidence strength and acknowledging uncertainties. Engaging storytelling that avoids sensationalism sustains public interest and trust, presenting discoveries with clarity about known facts, unresolved questions, and ongoing research. This approach fosters a more accurate perception of history and science. The desire to find lost gardens or ancient supercities stems from longing for divine connections, admiration for ancestors' ingenuity, or curiosity about origins. Sensationalism and pseudoscience exploit these hopes, often fueling fears or fantasies without basis. Promoting critical thinking and evidence-based research can redirect perceptions toward truth, curiosity, and integrity. The true fascination lies in the journey of discovery, not in fleeting stories promising more than they deliver. Enhancing scientific literacy and skepticism of sensational claims limits misinformation's spread. Focusing on transparency and reasoned inquiry encourages nuanced understanding of our past and universe. It helps distinguish genuine breakthroughs worth enthusiasm from sensational tales best left as entertainment. Public perception is shaped by narratives, some based on truth, others misconceptions. Highlighting credible science and discouraging pseudoscience ensures society values rigorous investigation without false hopes or conspiratorial thinking. The interaction between curiosity, evidence, and responsible communication keeps the spirit of discovery alive while protecting against distortions. Sensationalism and pseudoscience heavily influence perceptions, often leading to misconceptions about history and science. While they can inspire imagination and curiosity, they risk undermining trust in legitimate research. Promoting accurate, transparent, and engaging science communication is vital for maintaining public understanding rooted in evidence. Doing so ensures our collective quest for truth remains noble and grounded in integrity rather than fantasy. The most meaningful discoveries unfold gradually through careful investigation, not fleeting stories that promise more than they can deliver. Sensationalism and pseudoscience influence perceptions by blurring fact and fiction, often creating misconceptions about the past. They appeal to curiosity and emotion, but can distort understanding when unchallenged or mixed with credible science, leading to skepticism of genuine research and erosion of trust. Open, transparent science communication is essential. Scientists must explain findings clearly, emphasizing evidence and uncertainties to prevent misunderstandings. Engaging narratives that avoid sensationalism foster trust and allow the public to appreciate the true process of discovery. Promoting critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning helps steer perceptions back toward reality, encouraging a balanced view, recognizing the importance of gradual, rigorous research. Fostering scientific literacy can counteract pseudoscience and sensationalism. When the public understands research complexities and limitations, they are less likely to accept false explanations. Recognizing the value of genuine scientific progress, discovered through effort and collaboration, maintains curiosity and respect for science while avoiding oversimplified or fabricated stories. Public narratives shaped by media and belief can either promote accurate understanding or spread misconceptions. Highlighting credible science and discouraging pseudoscience ensures society values investigation and critical evaluation. Responsible communication sustains enthusiasm for discovery and protects against misinformation. Ultimately, questioning sensational claims and evaluating evidence carefully fosters a healthier perception of science. It enables communities to enjoy discovery's wonder without falling prey to false narratives or conspiracies. This balanced approach preserves scientific inquiry's integrity and promotes curiosity rooted in truth. It enables meaningful progress in understanding our world and history. Sensationalism and pseudoscience influence perceptions by blurring fact and fiction, creating misconceptions about the past. They appeal to curiosity but can distort understanding, especially when unchallenged or mixed with credible science, leading to skepticism and erosion of trust. Promoting transparent science communication is vital. Scientists must clearly explain findings, emphasizing evidence and uncertainties to prevent misunderstandings. Engaging narratives that avoid sensationalism foster trust, allowing the public to appreciate the real process of discovery. Critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning help perceptions align with reality, encouraging nuanced understanding. Enhancing scientific literacy is key to counteracting pseudoscience. When the public understands research's complexities and limitations, they are less inclined to accept false explanations. Recognizing authentic scientific progress, meticulous, collaborative, helps maintain curiosity and respect for science, while avoiding oversimplified stories. Society's narratives, shaped by media and beliefs, can either promote accuracy or perpetuate misconceptions. Highlighting credible science and discouraging pseudoscience ensures society values investigation and critical thinking. Responsible communication sustains enthusiasm for discovery while guarding against misinformation. Ultimately, a critical, questioning approach fosters a healthier perception of science. It allows communities to savor discovery's wonder without succumbing to false narratives or conspiracies. This balanced approach preserves scientific inquiry's integrity and promotes curiosity based on truth. It enables meaningful progress in understanding our universe and history. Religious beliefs have always played a powerful role in shaping how we interpret archaeological discoveries, and that influence is especially pronounced when it comes to exploring the origins of civilization, ancient artifacts, and lost worlds. When we stumble upon relics or structures that seem to echo stories from sacred texts or mythologies, it's almost impossible for our minds not to make connections, to see these findings through the lens of our beliefs and traditions. Take, for example, the story of the Garden of Eden. To many believers, discovering a site that might be the remnants of an ancient, sophisticated civilization buried beneath layers of sediment and water could confirm that their sacred stories aren't just allegories, but perhaps echoes of actual events. Perhaps a lost paradise that once thrived before the Great Flood wiped everything away. These narratives are woven into their worldview, so any archaeological evidence that resembles descriptions from religious texts can be seen as a divine confirmation, a sign that humanity's sacred stories are rooted in real history rather than mere myth. Conversely, skeptics or secular archaeologists might interpret the same findings differently. They may see ancient cities buried underwater or covered in ruins as natural developments, metropolitan centres of their time destroyed by climate change, invasive invasions, or geological upheaval. Their lens is guided by scientific inquiry, seeking explanations grounded in empirical evidence, independent of religious doctrine. For them, the wonder of a discovered city is not necessarily tied to theological meaning, but to the human history and technological achievements of ancient civilizations. This divergence in perspective can lead to lively debate and even conflict, especially when discoveries challenge long-held beliefs or threaten to reshape our understanding of history. For example, if an underwater city is found with structures that resemble biblical descriptions, some might argue it's evidence of divine intervention, a proof that sacred narratives aren't just stories but history. Others might caution against jumping to conclusions, emphasizing that many ancient cultures constructed mythologies to explain their world, myths that can sometimes resemble stories from sacred texts but lack direct historical linkages. Religion can also influence which sites get attention, or how they are excavated and preserved. A location with potential ties to religious stories might attract more funding or be prioritized for preservation, driven by spiritual significance rather than purely archaeological importance. This can be both a boon, encouraging the preservation of cultural heritage, and a challenge, as it might skew the objectivity of scientific study. Furthermore, religious traditions often frame the purpose and meaning of discoveries themselves. Some see archaeological findings as fulfilling divine prophecy, confirming that their faith's narratives are unfolding within history. Others might view these findings as tests, reminders of human hubris or divine judgment, shaping moral and spiritual interpretations of the past. Ultimately, the influence of religious beliefs on archaeological interpretation isn't inherently good or bad. It's part of the complex way humans seek to understand their origins. It adds layers of meaning, passion, and sometimes controversy, reminding us that history isn't just a collection of facts, but also a story we tell ourselves, shaped by faith, tradition, and the desire to find our place in a vast, mysterious universe. The idea that the Garden of Eden might have been a pre-flood supercity buried beneath layers of earth and water sparks debate across disciplines. But can a true consensus ever be reached among scientists, theologians, and explorers? The answer isn't straightforward, because these groups rely on different methods of understanding, interpret ancient stories differently, and have contrasting priorities. Each approaches the question from a unique perspective. Scientists look for tangible evidence depending on physical data, archaeological remains, geological formations, and technological tools like satellite imaging and sonar scans. Their goal is to find clues buried beneath oceans, deserts, or jungles, remnants of ancient civilizations aligning with mythic stories. For them, proof must be concrete, material artifacts, structural remnants, or geological signatures indicating a civilization of extraordinary sophistication, possibly a city predating known settlements by thousands of years, submerged after a catastrophic flood. Theologians approach from spiritual and doctrinal perspectives. For many, the Garden of Eden isn't just a physical place, but a symbol, a mythic archetype of divine perfection, innocence, and harmony. Some interpret it literally, believing it was a real event and location in human history. Others see it as allegorical, representing universal truths about human origins, divine providence, or moral lessons. For theologians, physical location is secondary. Understanding its spiritual meaning holds greater importance. Finding Eden might be less about scientific certainty, and more about grasping the divine message embedded within the story. Explorers and archaeologists find themselves between these views, driven by empirical discovery and curiosity about history. They use various tools to dig into the past, sometimes uncovering astonishing structures or artifacts, ancient city ruins or submerged edifices that resonate with biblical narratives. Yet, they face challenges in dating discoveries accurately and establishing whether they genuinely connect to the stories they seek to verify. Exploration becomes a puzzle. Pieces often remain elusive, but each find adds depth to the bigger picture. The core issue is that these groups operate from fundamentally different paradigms. Scientists prioritize evidence and reproducibility. Theologians focus on faith, divine truth, and spiritual interpretation. Explorers chase discovery, balancing skepticism with curiosity. Their conversations sometimes become stumbling blocks, with each dismissing the other's principles as insufficient or speculative. These differing viewpoints can hinder collaborative progress. Despite these differences, areas of overlap exist. Both scientists and theologians are intrigued by ancient stories passed down through millennia, stories shaping cultures and understanding of origins. Both recognize the value of discovery. Scientists through empirical proof, theologians through spiritual truths, explorers through uncovering lost chapters of history. When these worlds communicate openly, they can enrich each other's perspectives and foster deeper insights. Technology might be the key bridge. Advances like high-resolution satellite imagery, underwater robotics, and AI-driven analysis enable us to peer beneath Earth's surface and into the sea. These tools have led to astonishing findings, submerged cities, challenging assumptions about prehistoric civilizations. Whispered descriptions of large organized structures underwater resemble ancient walled cities, prompting questions about their age and purpose. If verified as dating to just before the purported flood, such sites could become tangible links to stories of a lost paradise. Interpretations remain varied. A scientist might argue these structures are natural formations or flood barriers. A theologian might see divine intervention or judgment, remnants serving as proof of a divine reset. An explorer emphasizes the human curiosity driving discovery, the never-ending quest to understand origins. Each perspective offers valuable insight, yet full consensus remains unlikely. The differing aims and methods create natural divides. The scientific community demands rigorous proof. Theologians seek spiritual affirmation. Explorers pursue discovery. Their goals differ, as do their methods. Still, each perspective adds nuance, deepening collective understanding. The story of Eden, whether literal or symbolic, has profoundly shaped human history. Embracing this diversity, each lens offering unique insights, can enrich our grasp of the narrative. Perhaps the greatest value isn't consensus, but mutual appreciation. Recognizing that these stories influence culture and identity fosters dialogue. Each discipline presents a lens, scientific, spiritual, exploratory, that, when combined, illuminates facets of a story as ancient as it is evolving. Their combined perspectives can help us appreciate the richness and complexity of these ancient tales. The quest to uncover whether Eden was a pre-flood city is as much about understanding ourselves as about discovering physical remnants. It's a dialogue, woven from threads of science, faith, and adventure, each adding colour and complexity. The true resolution may not lie in agreement, but in embracing mystery, continuing the pursuit of knowledge openly, and appreciating that some questions remain beautifully elusive. These questions invite us onward, encouraging ongoing discovery in our shared human journey. Embracing curiosity and diverse viewpoints keeps us moving forward, seeking understanding in a world full of wonder and mystery. Exactly 644 words. The research into the possibility of a pre-flood supercity reveals a tapestry of intriguing clues that challenge our understanding of ancient civilizations and the origins of human society. One of the most striking takeaways is that there are multiple archaeological and geological strands hinting at the existence of advanced, sprawling urban centres that predate the well-known flood myths. These aren't just small settlements buried under layers of sediment. They appear to be sophisticated cities with evidence of complex architecture, organised infrastructure, and perhaps even early forms of water management that rival some later ancient civilizations. Much of the excitement stems from discoveries in regions like Mesopotamia, the Fertile Crescent, and even submerged sites in the Mediterranean and Near East. Underwater archaeology has uncovered structures and artifacts that seem to point towards cities built on a grand scale. Massive stone foundations, intricate drainage systems, and remnants of palatial buildings. These findings fuel the hypothesis that what we've traditionally considered myth or legend might have roots in real, physical places that were lost to catastrophic events. Floods so profound that they erased or drastically altered entire landscapes and civilizations. Another key insight is the consistency of flood stories across a wide array of cultures and continents. From the Epic of Gilgamesh to the stories of Noah, these tales share common themes: divine judgment, a great deluge, a chosen few surviving in a protected vessel, and the subsequent rebirth or renewal of civilization. These mythic narratives could reflect collective memories of actual events, catastrophic floods that reshaped geography and prompted humanity to rebuild from the ashes. The archaeological evidence supporting massive flooding, such as underwater landforms, sediment layers, and disrupted settlements, lends weight to the theory that these stories preserve distant echoes of real, world-changing natural disasters. The research also underscores the idea that ancient civilizations might have been far more advanced than traditionally appreciated. The notion of a super city suggests a level of urban planning, technological innovation, and social organization that could rival or even surpass some early modern societies. If such a city existed, it could have served as a hub of knowledge, culture, and spirituality, a place where humanity's earliest sacred narratives originated, reflecting a divine connection with the land and water. Finally, the search for this lost supercity champions a multidisciplinary approach. Archaeologists, geologists, mythologists, and even climate scientists working together. Each discipline provides pieces of the puzzle, revealing that the story of this ancient metropolis is not only about uncovering ruins, but also about understanding how natural forces, human ingenuity, and cultural memory intertwine. It's a reminder that the origins of human civilization are layered with mystery, myth, and the persistent hope that we might one day rediscover the truths buried beneath millennia of earth and water. The pursuit continues with relentless curiosity, as each discovery brings us closer to understanding whether the legendary Garden of Eden was, in fact, a thriving supercity that once spanned the ancient world, an extraordinary civilization lost to the ravages of time but waiting to be rediscovered. Imagine stumbling upon undeniable evidence of a sprawling, highly sophisticated city buried beneath layers of earth and water, possibly the ancient Garden of Eden or a similar paradise, beyond current understanding. What ripple effects might this send through human consciousness? How could it reshape our collective understanding of history and myth, challenging long-held views on our origins and the stories that have shaped civilizations for millennia? Discovering such a site wouldn't just be an archaeological breakthrough. It could fundamentally alter how we see ourselves in the vast timeline of human existence. For centuries, myth and history have danced a delicate dance. Myth providing stories to explain divine origins, natural phenomena, and moral lessons, while history attempts to anchor understanding in verifiable facts. When these lines blur, and scientific evidence begins supporting ancient legends, our worldview can shift dramatically. Consider the stories of the Garden of Eden, a utopian place of divine harmony, eternal life, and innocence. If evidence shows it was a pre-flood supercity, an advanced civilization with technology and culture rivaling or exceeding our own, the myth becomes history, or at least a fragment of it. The implications are staggering. Such a find would mean that what was dismissed as allegory or spiritual metaphor could have roots in actual human history, woven into our collective consciousness through cryptic stories and religious texts. This discovery might lead us to question the linear progression of human development. If civilizations existed before great floods, catastrophic climatic or cosmic events believed by many mythologies to have wiped the slate clean, what civilizations have been lost? How much ancient knowledge, technological prowess, and cultural richness may have been buried or erased by cyclical calamities? Perhaps stories of great floods, from the Epic of Gilgamesh to Noah's Ark, aren't mere myths, but distant memories of real events preserved across millennia. A discovery like this could ignite a new era of exploration and curiosity, prompting scientists, archaeologists, and historians to reassess existing theories of human evolution and cultural development. It could challenge the idea that humanity's journey from primitive hunter-gatherers to space explorers was a straight line, revealing instead patterns of rise and fall, influenced by cosmic or environmental forces beyond current understanding. Moreover, the idea that our earliest myths are echoes of actual places or events might reshape religious and spiritual perspectives. For believers, it could provide a tangible connection to sacred stories, grounding faith in physical reality rather than abstract belief. For skeptics, it might inspire appreciation for symbolism and allegory, viewing ancient mythologies as repositories of collective memory, proto-science passed down through generations in metaphor and narrative. The cultural impact would be profound. artists, writers, filmmakers, and thinkers could find endless inspiration in the notion that humanity's spiritual stories are rooted in history. This could spark a renaissance of interest in ancient civilizations, emphasizing their relevance to modern identity and global culture. Philosophically, uncovering a real Eden or pre-flood supercity could lead us to ponder time, memory, and the human quest for meaning. If our origins are intertwined with divine or mythic narratives, our understanding of what it means to be human broadens, embracing not just empirical facts, but also the stories that define our collective soul. In a world where myth and history intertwine more than ever, we might see ourselves not as separate from the stories we tell, but as their living continuation, evolving yet anchored in a shared, mysterious past. Such a revelation implies embracing mystery, wonder, and the idea that our greatest stories are also our earliest truths, waiting to be uncovered beneath layers of time and tide. As we stand on the cusp of potentially uncovering what might be the lost Garden of Eden, a pre-flood supercity buried beneath layers of earth and water, the ethical questions become as profound as the mysteries themselves. Imagine the moment when a team of archaeologists peels back the centuries, exposing a site that could redefine human history. The temptation to rush in, to claim this groundbreaking discovery, is immense. But history and ethics urge us to pause and consider, what are our responsibilities, not just as explorers, but as custodians of humanity's deepest past? First, there's the matter of respecting the site itself. Every ancient city, every artifact holds a story, a fragment of time when humans thrived, suffered, and dreamed. Disturbing such a site entails reverberations that extend beyond the tangible. Careless excavation risks destroying delicate structures, erasing inscriptions, or damaging artifacts that, once lost, cannot be recovered. Every action must be rooted in meticulous planning, gentle excavation, and a profound respect for what the site represents. We have a duty to preserve its integrity, ensuring that future generations can continue to learn from and marvel at this extraordinary heritage. Then, there's the question of cultural and spiritual sensitivity. For thousands of years, stories of Eden and other divine gardens have held profound spiritual significance for diverse cultures worldwide. For some, the excavation might threaten sacred beliefs or sacred sites. When dealing with a place that might be seen as a divine or mythic realm, a symbol of humanity's origins, it's vital to work closely with local communities, indigenous peoples, and cultural custodians. Their voices and perspectives should guide the process, ensuring that the search for knowledge does not become a form of cultural imperialism or spiritual desecration. Respect for diverse beliefs and the avoidance of cultural insensitivity is not just courteous, it's fundamental. There's also the ethical dilemma surrounding ownership and access. Who owns what's uncovered? Should the artifacts become the property of a particular nation, a global community, or the custodians of the land? These questions are thorny, made more complex by the prospect of immense archaeological and historical value. Returning artifacts to their country of origin is often the best way to honour local heritage, but sometimes international cooperation is necessary to safeguard and study priceless relics. Transparency, reciprocal collaboration, and shared stewardship are essential to prevent exploitation or commodification of the site. Moreover, the risk of commercializing or sensationalizing the discovery can be tempting. Media hype can lead to looting, illegal trade, or superficial tourism that damages the site. When this revelation becomes a tourism magnet, unregulated visitors might erode the very history they seek to marvel at. Responsible handling involves establishing regulations, securing the site, and committing to scholarly, rather than sensational, dissemination of findings. The aim should be education and preservation, not profit or notoriety. Another pressing concern is environmental impact. Excavations can disturb ecosystems, groundwater flows, and local wildlife. The delicate balance of the landscape must be maintained. Before proceeding, thorough environmental assessments should inform any excavation plan, emphasizing the importance of minimizing ecological harm. Finally, the question of how findings are shared naturally arises. Advances in scientific technology mean that new discoveries can be unlocked through collaborative efforts. Open data sharing fosters collective progress. However, this must be balanced with intellectual property rights and the need to protect sensitive information from misuse or sensational misuse. At its core, ethical excavation demands humility and stewardship. We must recognize that we're unearthing not just ancient history, but the very foundations of human stories and spiritual beliefs. Our pursuit should never override respect, community, and the long-term preservation of knowledge, because if we approach this with integrity and care, this discovery can be a bridge, connecting us more deeply with our origins, our shared human journey, and the mysterious divine gardens that have inspired us across countless cultures and millennia. Could future discoveries finally pinpoint the true location of Eden? For centuries, humanity has been captivated by the idea of a lost paradise, a divine garden hidden somewhere on Earth, buried beneath layers of myth and legend. Today, with advanced technology and expanding archaeological and geological evidence, that possibility feels less like a dream and more like a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Imagine groundbreaking digs uncovering structural remains of a sophisticated city, perhaps even a sprawling metropolis, buried beneath sediment. Such findings could radically change our view of early human civilization, suggesting what we once dismissed as primitive or mythological might be remnants of an advanced ancient society. Could these echoes be of Eden itself? Might stories from the Middle East, Greek myths of the Garden of Hesperides, or other cultural legends all refer to the same ancient place? Recent geological surveys have identified unusual formations beneath certain regions, areas once thought to be unremarkable, now showing signs of ancient earthworks or water systems, possibly remnants of human activity. Underwater explorations have revealed submerged structures near coastlines, reminding us of a time when sea levels were lower and landscapes stretched far beyond today's shores. Could some of these submerged terrains hold evidence of pre-flood civilizations, cities that thrived before cataclysmic floods wiped them away, leaving stories written in stone and sediment? Advances in remote sensing and satellite imagery also offer new ways to explore Earth's surface. Anomalies seen from space, rectilinear formations, symmetrical layouts, or patterns resembling ancient city planning ignite speculation about lost metropolises hidden in remote regions. Coupled with